Hey everybody, and welcome back to another exciting episode of First Time Watch Fridays here on Horror Film Lovers. I'm your host, Jonathan Moody, and I've got my guest, who's also the co-host of Mainstream Mondays. We haven't done them in a while. We'll be bringing them back in next year, but until then, I decided why not have him on for a couple episodes of some of the different shows, different stuff that we're doing. Just to keep us doing shit, you know. But it was actually John's idea. How are you doing, John Ward?
I'm fine. How are you?
That was the longest introduction I think I've ever did. But yeah, we're going to be talking about Halloween Ends, which is something you've been wanting to talk about for a while.
Yeah, I keep calling it Halloween Dies. And it's not on purpose. I just keep thinking it's called Halloween Dies. And then I go, oh no, it's called Halloween Ends. But as we know, it's not going to end. I've heard two reports, from Jason Blum. One that says they don't have the rights to make anymore, and then other ones I've heard where he's like, oh yeah, we're going to make a bunch more. So who knows? Give it 2 years, and then we'll probably have Halloween Returns or Halloween Rises. Ooh, Halloween Rises wouldn't be bad.
Halloween Reborn.
Yeah, something like that.
Or Halloween Born. Because
Born. Yeah, there you go.
I don't know. It I feel like it should have just died, I guess, for a while at least, until Blumhouse loses the rights and then somebody else takes over. I got in trouble the other day for posting my thoughts and opinions on this stuff, but especially my thoughts and opinions against Blumhouse, like as if Blumhouse, like a filmmaker, should never say something negative about a film company. And I'm sorry, but if they make a bad movie, in my opinion, it should be talked about. We shouldn't praise mediocrity, like at all. We
So
should.
you shouldn't criticize Miramax for
I
all the
mean,
shit that Harvey did.
well, no, but like I think what he was trying to refer to is Blumhouse is like the big horror, company and everything. And
They
so
used to be. I love them when they were just like oh yeah, we're going to give you 5 million to make a movie.
right.
And that's it. That's all you got. And you had to make your film, which really kind of made the filmmaker use their imagination on how can we stretch this 5 million to make it look like a $20 million movie. And then once he started adding a little bit more money in, a little bit more money, then the stuff just went to shit.
I agree. Absolutely. I think my biggest problem is that this movie was 20 to $30 million movie. And I feel like, at least, because of the name value that they have in it and everything. And I'm just like, eh, like like I feel like it's wasted on this movie. I don't know, my humble opinion. I know you'll have other people who disagree with you on your version. You're going to do one or three filmmakers reviewing one movie, and you're all going to do that. And one of the filmmakers actually likes the movie, so it'll be interesting to hear.
Two of them do.
Both Jack likes it too.
Yeah, Jack and Michael like it. Yeah, and so it's going to be 2 against 1, which should be interesting.
Oh Lord! All right. Well, I'm glad I'm not a part of that. Just
well, it drives me nuts because I did watch the Red Letter Media, and Jay compared this to the Disney Star Wars sequels. So if Halloween 2018 is The Force Awakens, which everybody loved, both made a ton of money, there was promise, then that means Halloween Kills would be The Last Jedi, which should have made a lot more money than what it did, and people didn't like it. And then Halloween Ends would be Rise of Skywalker, which should have made a ton more money because it's the end of the trilogy. And it didn't. It lost, they said, they expected to make 20 million more than what it did. And it lost 20 million. Even though
didn't it make like 54 and
office.
didn't it make like 54 million though?
it had a good opening, but from what they predicted, it didn't make as much money. So it was the number one movie at the box office, but it didn't make as much money as they were hoping it would. And that's probably because of bad word of mouth, even before the
Yeah.
movie came out.
Well, it's also because, I mean, I hate to say it, but it was a stupid idea to put it on Peacock. You know, I understand they were probably afraid that people wouldn't go to the theater for it and stuff, but like putting it on Peacock made me not want to go see it, you know, even though I could, you know.
I didn't want to, from the reviews and stuff that I read about it, I didn't want to go to the theater. So actually I'm glad it was on Peacock.
Right.
Because I probably would have waited for Blu-ray since I'm a completionist. I would just buy it on Blu-ray anyways and maybe watch it that way. But I'm glad it was on Peacock because I was able to watch it twice. And just see, maybe I was wrong. Maybe I was tired or in a bad mood, or because it wasn't the film I wanted. Maybe I should give it a second chance. Where I did a post where somebody on Facebook goes, if you're that dumb to watch a movie that you didn't like twice, then I have a bridge to sell you. And it's like, so you've never done anything twice. Like maybe you listened to a CD from a band you like and you didn't like it, but then a couple days later, you didn't go back and go, maybe I should listen to that again. Maybe I just wasn't in the mood. Like you didn't read a book that you didn't like the first time, but everybody liked it. So you're not going to go back to it a second time.
Right.
I think it's such a dumb statement to make,
Yeah.
And it's like, I've never really understood the bridge comment. I know what it is referring to, but it's like nobody would be stupid enough these days to do what that person did where the phrase came from. Right. So it's like, okay, well, what bridge are you selling me? How's the land doing? Can I build on it? Can I tear down the bridge and maybe build something else?
Was that person who said that, was that the guy that we've had some issues with recently?
No, this is a different guy. The guy that went back and forth with you, he is also an idiot. And for him to state that for you to able to review a movie, you have to make 2 feature films or 5 short films is fucking idiotic. Because I looked on his IMDb, he has not directed 1 film, not 1.
Well, I think in his the way I see it with him was he was trying to say that he doesn't ever say a bad thing about movies and whatnot. And I mean, if you don't want to do that, that's fine, right? But don't expect that like people are going to be all sunshine and roses on posts about movies that have a little bit of controversy for not being what people were hoping it would be. I think there were a lot of expectations, especially marketing. Marketing was terrible in this movie.
Oh, so I brought 2 movies out. I felt that because I went back and rewatched the trailer, the couple of them. I feel that campaign was completely divisive, and it has I feel that it was a complete false advertising of what this film truly is, as much as this is false advertising. Absolutely false advertising. What else is false advertising? This is false advertising. This never happens in the movie. There's never a shark in the movie, or at least not stock footage. The Robo-Woman does not look like this at all. Doesn't even come close. This is complete false advertising done by Wild Eye Releasing, and the film's creator. And so that's what I felt like the trailer for this was, because when I saw the trailer, it was like, okay, well, maybe this is going to be pretty good. I mean, word of mouth with like reshoots and everything was not very good.
Mm-hmm. I agree. No, absolutely. And so, yeah, it like the whole idea was it was supposed to end, right? Like there was going to be the big battle between, and we were kind of led to believe like it was going to happen like more than, probably before the 20-minute like left marker, that it became like in the final act, that's when they got together. But like Michael's at a fucking sewer almost all the movie, you know? And on top of that, like, first of all, he's human. He's not a supernatural being. He's human. Like,
they've kind of gone back and forth with that. I mean, it's
but
sometimes
in these three movies, he's pretty human. He's a boogeyman, but he's pretty human, you know? And so what does he fucking eat when he's in the sewer? Rats or something the whole time? Like,
I'm guessing rats and maybe homeless people, because they mention in it that he's killed homeless people.
yeah, and he didn't kill that one guy before Corey did. By the way, there will be spoilers in this if you haven't seen it.
Oh, a shitload. We're not holding back anything.
We're not holding back. We're not going to be like, oh, no spoilers. We can't do that. You know, it's been out. It has been out for a week, at least. You know, you can't be mad about, you know, spoilers. If you haven't seen it, go watch it on Peacock. Go watch it on. I mean, you know, if you didn't know it was going to end and there was going to be that big fight scene, then you haven't obviously been paying any attention to the title or what's going on.
I wonder with that, and I've heard both sides because I've watched a ton of reviews and I've read stuff on Facebook and all that. It took 4 people to write this. Mm-hmm. 4.
The original other 2 only were 2 people.
Well, yeah. So if you know how credits work, it wasn't Danny McBride and David Gordon Green. Am I getting that right? Yep. I hate people with 3 names. And they're listed as second. So I almost wonder if this was a totally different script. If this was something that they found or was brought to them and was said, make this into a Halloween movie. So then they changed it and put Michael Myers in there, kind of sprinkling him throughout the movie. I'm sorry, there's no way. Why would you need 4 people to write this?
Yeah, no, I don't know. I would love to.
Just had 2 writers.
Yeah, the other 2 just had Danny McBride and David.
Who, by the way, I love both of them. Yeah. I love their stuff. I was so happy when I heard that they were doing Halloween 2018. So happy, because it was a comedy writer, director, and a comedy actor that's making a serious slasher film. I was excited. I love Halloween 2018. It's like 90 minutes. It's completely cut down to what it should be. There's 1,000 questions in there. I loved it. It has its issues, but I loved it. And then Halloween Kills came around. And I hated it. Absolutely hated it. Hated it.
Somebody talked about how what they should have done from the very beginning, if you know you're going to make a trilogy, which I think they were planning to make a trilogy the whole time. If you're planning to make a trilogy the whole time, write all 3 scripts already. You know, just write them all back to back. Then, you know, the worst comes to worst, you paid the writers, you know, money that they're just not gonna. They have to just throw that out like, okay, we just lost, you know, a couple million or whatever it is, you know, for those writers, whatever it is, right? You know, but then the you know, and then you look at what they did, which was, I think they were like, okay, we have an idea about what we want to do. You know, we want to have it be a trilogy. We want to have it be, you know, the beginning started all off. Then the second one kind of continues right where the first one left off. And then the third one takes place years later, a couple years later, right? Or something.
Like Halloween 4.
Right. And it's, you know, supposed to be, and look, I totally get what they were going with on this. Like, I mean, with the idea of like, this is talking about how they had to make a new boogeyman, how they had to, that this whole town is healing from this trauma, you know, and stuff. And so like, there's a lot of cool stuff that they could have done for something else. Somebody talked to me about it and I was like, it would be freaking cool if they made a whole Haddonfield series, right? Like a whole series about Haddonfield, and then like other, like what was that Hulu
Castle Rock.
Castle Rock, right? Where there's just other stuff going on, not necessarily just Michael, but maybe maybe one day we get an entrance of like Jamie Lee Curtis walking around. We see her, some of her story or whatever, but like mainly it's other people in the town and the stuff that's going on. That would be cool. But the problem is, and they could have set that up for like a spinoff, with Corey. Like Corey's this fucked up kid who, what I mean? But they had to take him, they had to make him into uh Michael, and I was like, okay, so they're gonna make him the new killer in the sequels. Then they just kill him off.
And they just kill him off. I agree with you. I think that if you are going to do a trilogy, you need to at least do some sort of treatment or outline or something for all three films, which I think, maybe that's why the Scream movies 1, 2, and 3 worked well, is because there was some idea of what they were going to be doing in each movie instead of just going into it blindly.
And that's why 4 and 5 seems sort of out of there, because 4 was sort of like just a let's make another movie. Yeah, let's make another movie. The 5th one was completely like we're just completely making something our own selves.
Yeah, and with this is if they want, okay, so the book for Psycho 2 by Robert Bloch is not the movie at all. In the book for Psycho 2 there are like teenagers that are staying in the house, and they're like partying in the house, and they're getting murdered off. And they think it's Norman Bates because they hear Norman Bates has escaped from the mental institution. By the end of the book, we find out that Norman Bates was hit by a car and died, and that it was a copycat killer. They kind of did a little bit of that in Psycho 3, but that to me is a much better idea than what they did with Halloween Ends. I mean, if you want to have Corey be trained by Michael or something, God, pardon me, it's very dry out here. Do something maybe like, I was thinking Son of Frankenstein, where Igor finds the monster and uses the monster to kill all the people that hung him, which is why he's all like this. And that to me would have been interesting. So Corey, all these people in town pick on him. They're bad people. He finds Michael in the sewer, and he basically helps him because he's about to die. He's lost all of his Michael energy. He's fucked up. He's not healing right, of course, because he's not getting medication or anything. He doesn't have insurance. And he helps him. And he brings people maybe back to the sewer for Michael to kill, or he sends Michael to kill the people that have wronged him. And then at the end, when Michael finally does die, he picks up the mask, and now he's the new Michael if they want to do a spinoff. Because a lot of people have been bringing up the ending of Halloween 4.
Right.
But he killed himself. So what's the point?
Well, in Halloween, it's funny. You bring up Halloween 4, but I also bring up Halloween 5. Wasn't Halloween 5 the one where he was in a sewer for a little bit or whatever?
Yeah, and he falls through that pit in part 4. He ends up in like the water, and the guy, depending on, it's either Dr. Death or the bum, like the homeless guy, drags him out, and for like a year he heals Michael, and then Michael kills him. And then he goes, then he's back in Haddonfield again. Why are people criticizing Rob Zombie's Halloween 2? It's the same movie. Except Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 has Michael Myers in it.
Right.
It's showing the aftermath of what happened. It's showing how tortured these people are. It's showing Michael healing in like a barn, like a homeless person. and it shows him eating animals, that he eats a dog. So why are people hating on Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, which I think is better than Rob Zombie's Halloween? And because at least it feels like a Rob Zombie movie, not just a ripoff on Halloween. Why criticize that, but love this?
Don't ask me. You know what? Like most people, when I've talked to them about the people who love it, there are some people who I knew were going to love it because I didn't love it, and everything. Because no matter if I like it, they hate it. If I hate it, they love it. And it's just so funny because this is just not for me. Like, and I thought, and I wanted it to be for me because so many people are saying before, oh man, this, like, it got hate in the beginning of when it first came out, and I was like, uh-oh, this doesn't, like, my expectations right then were lowered, right? And I was like, okay, well, I'm still holding on hope that maybe, just maybe, I'm wrong, or maybe they're wrong. Maybe all these people that are saying this stuff, maybe it's for me and not for them, right? So I started watching it, and I'm like, okay, there's this kid Corey. All right, when are we gonna get to Michael? We don't get to Michael until like 40 minutes into the movie.
40 minutes, yeah. And I think somebody timed it. I think Michael's in the movie for something like 9 minutes and 47 seconds.
Well, he was also in. Somebody also said that he was also in Halloween 1, the 1978 Halloween, for only 9 minutes of screen time. But that's him going and killing multiple people.
But he's sprinkled.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like, it's him killing multiple people and it's him there. I mean, we don't have to have him every scene or whatever, but we have to have the threat of him. And I feel no threat with him being in a sewer, just hanging out, not doing anything, like when Corey comes again to see him in the sewer, I'm like, this motherfucker now still is not leaving. He's still staying in this one area, and nobody, no cops have come and seen him.
Well, did they not do a search?
Yeah.
How bad is the Haddonfield Police Department if they're not looking in sewers?
Yeah.
I mean, Michael at that point would have been pretty bad and badly injured, and they're not looking, like, they're not doing a manhunt through sewers.
Mm-mm.
I mean, none of that makes sense. And I think each film looks good. It sounds good. The acting is fine. It's just they didn't know what to do.
Mm-hmm.
And they had an idea for the first one. They went with it. Unfortunately, every single problem that was brought up by the fans. How was Michael caught? Well, who was this? What was that? They tried to answer, which then made the movie 100 fucking minutes. And we didn't need it. Mm-hmm. And then they brought in that stupid stuff of Michael standing in the window of his sister's room, which is just as dumb as Michael being, Laurie's his sister. Mm-hmm. So it's like, get off the sister thing, man. It's like, I don't understand what they're doing.
Well, especially since from what I've understood, David Gordon Green and them didn't want the sister thing, because that's why they chose to do number 2 as 2018 as number 2,
which is fine. But why is Michael obsessed with the Myers house, with the sister's room, with staring out the window, and then when the cops go into the flashback, and Michael's in that room, why are they still obsessed with the sister thing? And even though that's supposed to be Michael's sister, but it's for the first movie. But it's like, I don't get it. I don't understand why people like this as much as they do. I don't know if this is intentional. I have no idea. Maybe these guys are smarter than me, which is possible, probably. But did you happen to notice that the kids that were picking on him, that were bullying him, are in band?
I heard, I saw some stuff about that. I don't remember it.
Look at them. If you watch it again, look at their clothing. So I noticed that the one guy he was flipping the drumsticks.
Right.
And so I'm like, okay, well, he plays drums. That's just his thing. He has the drumsticks with him. But then on the second viewing, I was watching it, and all of them, when they go to like the Quickie Mart and they go and they wanted to buy booze, they're all in band gear.
I never
So
noticed that before. No.
I don't know if this is meant to be intentional, that the bullies are in band who are supposed to be teenagers, and Corey's in his 20s and he
Yeah.
can't even defend himself. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
they're in fucking band.
Well, and on top of that, I mean, you've got the two girls. I think it was two, right? If I'm correct, there were
Yeah,
two
two
girls.
girls, two guys. Yeah.
The two girls, two guys, and the two girls are pretty much the whole time going, "Hey, leave this guy alone,"
Well, no,
or
no. The
whatever. At
one
first,
girl,
yeah,
the one girl is the white girl is saying, "What do you have?" First of all, she goes, "What do you have against this kid? He's not a kid. He's in his 20s."
right. He's older than you,
Yeah,
supposedly.
and
Yeah.
it's the black girl is the one who keeps doing the, I don't know, she like doing the slang stuff or whatever it is, which is, and I guess that she's trying to act like a badass or something like that. But then you got the guy with the really bad mullet, that was just the horrible hairdo. So that's why I don't understand. Maybe I'm stupid. Maybe I'm not getting it. I mean,
Are you getting? Maybe it's a talk about what the things have changed to the point where the bullies now can be being banned. I mean, I don't know. Like things have changed because, like, if you look at Gen Z or whatever they are now, whatever the newest high school, oh, did I lose you for a second?
I'm here.
Okay. No, I was wondering if you lost me. I actually, because it just
I did lose you for about
okay,
10
because it
seconds.
said my internet connection is unstable, just like my life. Um, but yeah, yeah, maybe they're saying something about camp, like band people, and how they're now the new bullies or something. But the Gen Z, I don't know. Like,
I
I
don't
have no
know.
idea what their
Like
point was.
I'm just not sure. I mean, it's like the guy doesn't, and Corey doesn't want to buy them beer, so the guy like is just an asshole to him.
I mean, yeah, yeah. I
It's
mean, it makes sense that you wouldn't want to buy fucking kids beer, like, and get fucking arrested for that shit. Like, why?
Yeah. And
I
and
mean,
by the way,
whoa, I lost you. Uh-oh. Uh, sorry, folks. Might have to edit this. Or might not. I don't know. I don't think you'll be happy with that. All
I
right.
don't know
Oh,
what you said because
yeah, it completely keeps freezing. Oh my fuck. Why is it doing that right now? Sorry about that, folks. We had some technical difficulties. Hopefully, we won't have any more. But with my internet connection, who knows? So, with that being said, let's go. Let's talk more. Let's talk a little bit more about the I guess the band people. Band. I keep wanting to say band camp people. They were dressed up like they were in band, and you were saying that well, I was talking about the Gen Z and how apparently that, in my opinion, that was where it was trying to go to say is like they're the new bullies now. Not
band camp people are bullies.
that was my take from it, was like that the bullies have changed, completely, because, like, remember, nerds used to be nerds and now nerds are cool, so maybe nerds are cool, maybe band nerds are cool. I don't know. I have no idea. I don't know who the new
But
bully
that's
is.
not cool. They were just, oh, okay. So yeah, so I remember what we were discussing with them. So we were kind of breaking down each person. And so it was the two guys, the two girls, the leader was the biggest dick for some reason. And then you had the mullet guy was I don't know, I guess like his backup guy. And then you
Mhm.
had like the white girl who was like nice and she called him kid for some reason.
Mhm.
And then you had like the black girl who was also just like a total bitch. And it makes me wonder, like, are they the bullies of the school? Or are they just like, oh my God, watch out. There's the violin guy, oh shit, there's the saxophone player. It's fucking Bandcamp. Is this a joke? Was this meant to be a joke in the movie, since they are dressed in their band gear?
I don't know. And there was like he had that fear, like he didn't ever want to see them, or whatever. But he did end up slashing their tires, so I can kind of understand a little bit.
Well, thanks to Lori, I mean, who had the knife. I mean,
Right. Yeah, Lori came and saved the day for him. Introduced him to her granddaughter. I mean, and then he wants to stab her in the back. Literally.
well, okay, well, we can easily. I should ask this. Do we want to show our Halloween
Oh shit,
stuff?
I didn't bring it downstairs. Of course, of course. Hold on, let me pause this real quick. All right, so we have our collections, and so first of all, John, show off what you got.
Well, I'll start with DVD. So I got the Halloween 25th anniversary DVD. And it says digital video to the max down below.
Nice.
So, and it's got a bunch of special features. It's Anchor Bay, 2 DVD, stuff like that. So that's pretty cool. And then I got the double feature, Halloween 2, Halloween 3.
Nice.
Which I think are, at least they're on their own discs. So that's good.
That's even better.
Yeah, I don't think there's any special features on these.
That's a bummer.
And then I picked up the Halloween double feature of part 4 and 5.
Awesome. Except for
also,
5. 5 is my least favorite.
I watched part 5 not too long ago, and man, is that film a fucking mess. And I blame the French for that. They got that French director who did Night Angel, I think it was called, and he did the worst job. Any interview that I see with him, I just want to punch him in the fucking face. They picked the worst possible director. They picked a French guy who knew nothing about the Halloween series because it's American. Why not just get an American director who knows the series? No wonder it sucked. So,
well, then they get American director who doesn't understand horror, to direct the 3 trilogy movies. I swear to God, I think I've heard some things where David Gordon Green talks about how big of a horror fan he is. And I'm like, you cannot be that big of a horror fan and fuck this movie up that bad,
I guess. I don't know. This I ordered off of eBay before part 6 came out. I think it only came out, it was just the theatrical version. And when they found the producer's cut, this came out. And this is a bootleg.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so I never got rid of it. I figured, why would I get rid of it? And it looks like that inside.
Oh, all right.
So it's,
wait, why is there 3 discs in there?
I can't tell you because it is so dark.
But there's literally 3 discs, because there was 2 on the thing, and then there seemed to be one, like,
Okay, so it says here, this is the ultimate edition of the unreleased Halloween 666, The Origin of Michael Myers, containing 4 alternate cuts of the film and the producer's cut. Excuse me. In the highest quality ever available. Plus,
I want that now.
And plus, there are rare behind-the-scenes footage, auditions, promotional material. Experience the origin like you've never done it before. So I guess that's why. I don't know where you would get this. I bought this thing like years and years and years ago.
Hold on, looking on eBay. No, it doesn't look like. Yeah, it doesn't look like it's available anywhere. Dang. Anyway.
Yeah, so I kept it. And then, of course, H2O.
Nice.
And then I don't care what people say. Maybe this is my Halloween ends. I like Halloween Resurrection.
Um,
I I do. I didn't think it was the worst idea.
it was just too Scream-like. It just didn't feel like Halloween to me, you know. But they say that about H2O, and H2O is like that, but H2O to me is more fun,
I
you
love
know.
H2O.
Yeah. So
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why this gets such hate, but I get the Coolio stuff. No, not Coolio. Who was it? Buster Rhymes.
Buster Rhymes, yeah.
I get that stuff that people make fun of that, but I don't know. I don't think it's as bad as a movie as everybody thinks. So, and then I got the Halloween 25 Years of Terror documentary,
Mm-hmm.
and that's it's got a comic book
Awesome.
and it's 2 disc. So, and then Blu-ray. For a long time, the only Blu-ray I had was Halloween 6, and I thought that I can't have that.
Right.
So 10 years later, when they released John Carpenter's Halloween 35th anniversary, I picked that up.
Nice.
So got that. Then we have the producer's cut. I'm sorry, the theatrical cut. I like both versions. I still like both versions. I think this is well directed. I think Michael Myers is pretty cool in this. I like this film. I like both of them. So maybe I shouldn't give people shit for Halloween Ends.
No,
So
you
far,
should still,
you know,
because and didn't you do a ranking? We should do our ranking later if we can.
yeah, I think I posted it on Facebook, but I think I still have it from when I sent it to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's just on my phone. Then there is the producer's cut of Halloween 6. And then we
Nice.
have Rob Zombie's Halloween. And
Nice.
which a lot of people don't know. This is a combination of 3 Halloweens.
Right.
So there's the bootleg, the theatrical, and then the one that he made for video.
Sweet.
So there's 3 versions. So that's what this is a combination of all 3 versions.
Which version? Okay, the collectors, 2 disc collectors. Okay.
Yeah, it's the one that has the 4-hour documentary that's really good. So,
I have to check that out.
And then Halloween 2, Rob Zombie. And then Halloween 2018. And then Halloween Kills, which I will admit the extended cut is better. So that's all my stuff.
Mm-hmm. All right. I'm looking up for my ranking so that I can have it when we're ready to go. Crap, I'm almost there. I think. Yep, here we go. All right. So, I mean, all I have is the 4K release of Halloween, which
Nice.
just typical. It's got both the Blu-ray and the 4K. So that's good. And then of course this, the Halloween Scream Factory release.
Oh yeah. That has everything.
Has everything. All the movies that up to Halloween 2. Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. And then I don't have Halloween 2018 Kills or obviously Ends yet. But I also do have the producer's cut on Blu-ray, but I can't find it. It's somewhere in my collection. So I do have that as well. And that's it. That's the only stuff I have. I mean, I like this set, which it didn't look like you had, I guess. But
I don't have the collection. I don't
yeah,
have that. Because I just figured I already owned them all, so I wasn't going to pick it up.
Right. Well, it makes sense. I don't, so it was perfect for me. I think it was only like $60 or something, which for I guess was it 10 films at that time? That was pretty good. But each one in their own. Oh, I'm missing one. Uh-oh. I'm missing Halloween 3. What the fuck? It's like one of my favorites. I bet you know what? I bet I know where it is. So, but it's got all 5 of the first 5 on one, and not on one disc, but on one case. on each and every one on their own. And then it's got the original Halloween Curse of Michael Myers theatrical cut, but does not have the producer's cut in this. That's why I'm happy to have the producer's cut on Blu-ray on its own thing. And then it's got all the way
The
up to
producer's cut didn't come with the box set.
just the theatrical cut. So look, it just says theatrical cut on it, I think.
I know Cliff was. I thought maybe I'm misunderstood. Maybe I'm not remembering correctly.
Theatrical.
I think from what Cliff told me, I think they did the producer's cut, so Scream Factory, and I think what it was is that it had to be released separately because they wanted to make money off of it, like the people that had them do the disc.
Right.
And I don't think Cliff was happy about that because they wanted to include it in the box set.
It's not in the box set,
but they wouldn't let them. Yeah, wouldn't let them do it.
But I have both of them, and I was really happy. I went to I forgot what store it was. A store that has a bunch of Blu-rays, DVDs, and CDs. It wasn't. It was one in the mall. And I was just looking around, and I was like, oh, DVDs, Blu-rays. And Halloween 666, the producer's cut was available, to buy. And I was like, if I'm buying anything this time, I got that and a couple other movies. But if I knew if I could only buy one thing, it would have been the producer's cut because, to me, I wanted to have that, in my collection. And I'm very glad I did. So I'm very glad also that since it didn't have it on this, that I still have it, available if I want to watch it, which I did do for Horror, Blood, and Coffee. We did our reviews of both the theatrical and the producer's cut. Like which one did we like better and which one blah blah. You know what I mean? That kind of thing and stuff. And I forgot which one I liked better. I think I liked the producer's cut a little better.
Most people do.
Yeah, and I think that's why. I mean, I think it's just it's which is funny because generally, like the director's cut or whatever the normal cut, theatrical cut is sort of more of what most people would think would be the one, But I think the producer's cut worked like Harvey and Bob coming in and saying, "Hey, you need to fix all these, things," and doing that. Probably the only good thing Harvey Weinstein has ever done.
I like both equally. I don't really think I could pick. Maybe I could pick the producer's cut over the theatrical one. Whichever one has science instead of magic is the one I like. Like Paul Rudd finds the lab, and like Michael could be an experiment. That's the one that I prefer, which I think is the producer's cut. So
I don't remember. I remember we did it and I watched it then, and that was like 2 years ago. That was 2020, and I don't remember. I barely remember what I did yesterday. So
because you're so old.
I'm 40. I mean, I'm getting there, getting old.
I'm 55.
I know, but I don't know. I'll be lucky if I can remember anything when I get 55. All right, moving on.
Tough. So what did you think of the Corey and was her name Julie? What's the daughter?
I think that's her name. What was her name?
I think it's Julie, isn't it? Or Julia?
It wasn't Julie. I don't think it was something close to that though. It was Allison.
Oh, not even close.
Yeah.
So
I was wrong.
So I did not understand this relationship. This is why I think this was another bad idea, because it was nothing that was shown over time. Everything in this movie goes from 0 to 100 in like 2 seconds.
It's like they meet. She falls absolutely head over heels in love with him. Like
if it was explained that they're both damaged, that she sees damage in him and she's damaged, and so there's this bond that is created between them, that I could get. But she, I mean, it's like she gets wet instantly. Like, I want to fuck this dude.
Mm-hmm.
And she is so aggressive with it. And I did not get that at all. One, I really don't know what he's not ugly, but I don't think that he's good looking enough to be swept off your feet.
You know what
You
his
know,
character reminded me of? Donnie Darko, a little bit. Like he even has a little bit of a Jake Gyllenhaal kind of look to him, like when he's, to me, and in my opinion, you know.
yeah, I'm not saying that at all.
I saw it because like when he is hanging out with her, and they're discussing, running away and all that stuff. When I saw that, I for some reason I was thinking Donnie Darko. I don't know. There's just something, the look in his eyes, the way that he was, made me think Donnie Darko. I might be the only one, but that was
That you could be right about that.
yeah,
Yes, you
it
might
could
be
be,
the
but
only
it's okay
one.
because it's when I saw it. I don't know if I watched it again, probably wouldn't get that vibe. But when I first watched it, and I didn't watch it again, and not because I didn't want to, it was like I literally had a million things to do, and we had thought about doing this like way too quickly for me to like plan and make sure things, you know what I mean? Like I have we're when this comes out is when I'm gonna be on my way to Scarefest, in Lexington, Kentucky. So I'm like I've got a million things to get wrapped up before I go, So I was like, oh well, we'll talk about it, but I'll have to remember what happened a week ago almost, you know.
Well, it's only been a week. I hope you remember the whole movie.
I mean, I remember the whole movie. I don't think there was anything I forgot. You
Okay,
know,
good.
I don't think so.
I mean, was there really one, except maybe Corey's dad, stepdad, whoever he might be? Maybe he was the only nice guy in the
No,
entire
also
thing.
the father of the kid seemed nice. I liked him.
The
You know,
father of
the kid that he killed.
that gets. I guess he seems to be kind of removed at the beginning. I mean, the first overbearing mother.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god, that kid was so annoying. I was hoping that kid would die. I really was, because I'm like, are they remember the black kid from the first Halloween and how funny he was and likable, and
Oh, you're
like
talking
he
about
got,
the first 2018.
yeah, yeah,
Okay.
and it's and he was funny, he was likable, people liked him, he got interviewed and stuff like that,
Right.
and I'm wondering, like, are they trying to do that again, but with this white kid? Because this white kid just comes off as a spoiled little fucking asshole. And
Oh,
and
he had no charm to him. He had no, like, honestly, people are talking about how they rewatched his death scene because it was so funny. That how it felt, how he felt and kind of bopped, you know,
bounced out. Yeah.
yeah, bounced, and stuff. And they're like, do you rewind and fast forward? And I'm like, I think this is one of the only times people have been like thrilled to see a kid die,
Oh my
and
god, is he obnoxious? And I know it was an accident, but of course I don't think Corey should have freaked out like he did. I mean, you're just locked in a room. Just wait till the parents come home. Why do you have to be
yeah.
such a freaking drama queen about it? Just
Well,
he
I,
does. He seems pretty normal. He
I
doesn't
think
mention
what he was more worried
claustrophobia.
about, because from what I took from it, was that originally he was worried because the kid had a knife or whatever, you know, and stuff, and was like, or whatever. Like, remember he was making the food, then his knife was gone
Yeah. Then
and everything.
then he finds the
So
knife on the
he thought that
stairs.
maybe Michael Myers was actually there originally.
That was
So
the joke. That was the joke that the little
right,
kid was trying to do. But then
it's
Corey got stuck in the room, and the kid is like, ha ha ha. He does a Nelson. He's like, ha ha. And then, he's locked in the room. And then that's when Corey starts freaking out. Dude, just sit there. Just sit there. The parents were literally driving in.
yeah.
Just sit there for 5 minutes. And then the kid will go downstairs. And then she'd be like, well, where's the babysitter? Where's Corey? He'd be like, oh, I locked him in the attic upstairs. And she'd be like, what are you doing? Go get him out. But instead, he fucking freaks out for no reason at all. It's
You
not
know what would have
explained if he has
happened
any
is,
sort of
you know,
phobia.
they would have came home, the kid would have ran into the other room, act like he was sleeping. They would have said, "Why are you locked in the, thing?" And he was, "Oh, your kid did." "Oh no, my kid's an angel. He's sleeping. You must
Well,
have
you know
locked
what? Give me my
yourself in
money.
there."
Fuck off and go. And I won't babysit for you again, right?
Yeah.
Because your kid's a
I mean, really, that would
freaking
have been what
demon.
happened, but I was just saying, like, that would have literally
That's
been
very
the way.
possible with that type of family. Yeah, because
Yeah.
she was all about that
Which
kid
made
and
me
and
like
and
so awkward. Like, what parent of an almost teenage kid, like he was 10 maybe, right? Like he was
somewhere
getting
there,
up there. What?
somewhere, yeah,
He's
yeah.
somewhere around there. So he's getting up there. What parent like that would be just all like, she's all hugging him and saying boo, right? And like,
Because she's like a helicopter parent. She just smothers him and kind of the opposite of Corey's mother, who is an absolute nightmare, who slaps him and then kisses him on the lips.
yeah.
My mother did that to me once. She kissed me on the lips, and I was like, "What the fuck are you doing?" It was really bizarre. It was when I was like 20 or something. And I go in to hug her. I forget what it was. And it's like kissing me on the cheek. She kissed me on the lips. I'm like, what are you doing?
That's not
We're,
that's not
we're not dating.
Yeah.
What? That's just weird. And for people who don't know, I don't get along with my mother and I haven't talked to her for 20 years. So
Because she kissed you on the
it's
lips?
oh no, many. The whole family has not talked to her, but that's just one of the many weird things she did, and to me that was just strange that the mom did that. No wonder he acted the way that he did, and I don't blame him for killing her either. But when you look at things like if you watched Dahmer, or if you watch something on um Bundy or Gacy or any of these guys, you find that their parents were normal.
Yeah.
Like they weren't psychopaths. They were pretty normal parents, and their kids somehow was just got all screwed up. But in movies, like according to Rob Zombie and all these people, you always have to have these fucked up parents that make serial killers.
Hmm.
Ted Bundy came from a very normal house.
Yeah, what in Halloween, Rob Zombie's Halloween, Michael was this kid who got bullied. He had a stepfather who was a white trash
All white
stepfather.
trash. Very
Like
white
the
trash.
mother was a stripper.
Dad
All
wanted to
this,
fuck the daughter, the stepdaughter.
yeah. So there's so much grossness to it. And then and that was the idea, is that like this kid was really fucked up to the point where it just drove him to be psycho. But like, it doesn't really happen necessarily that way. I mean, in real life, uh, it's interesting to see in the movies because it's not real. It's fantasy, you know. Um, and this movie itself is fantasy, but I don't know.
Oh, they even did it with Freddy Krueger. If you remember, like the Final Nightmare. That Alice Cooper, who's Freddy's dad, would come down
And
and whip him with a
Roseanne, right?
belt.
Roseanne was his mom.
No, she's just in one scene.
I thought she was his mom.
No, Roseanne and Tom Arnold are in the town that has no children,
Uh,
and they want to bring the kids back with them, and the kids like freak out and split. So it's a cameo with Tom Arnold, but the mom is there, but I don't think she's like known.
it's been a while since I saw the Freddy Krueger movies, like,
yeah, I actually watched it not too long ago, but it's even that dad beats the shit out of his son, giving him a reason to be some sort of serial killer or pedophile or whatever it is. But it just doesn't. I mean, there really isn't anybody nice in this whole movie.
Even Jamie Lee Curtis is kind of a bitch in it. Like her character, Laurie's kind of this, like,
and I didn't understand that. So she's Betty Crocker now,
and she's writing a book. Like,
so
now
why
she's
not?
Sidney Prescott.
Yeah, I mean,
like,
if you've ever seen the film The Long Kiss Goodnight with Gina Davis and Samuel L. Jackson, Gina Davis starts off as Betty Crocker.
Wait, sorry, I said Sidney Prescott, but did she did write a book, didn't she?
She did.
But the other one wrote the more of the books, the Woodsboro murder stuff. I don't know.
Yeah, Gail wrote the 2 books, and then Sydney for part 4 was writing her book for part 4.
So
But
there
with
you go.
Long Kiss Goodnight, Gina Davis, like I said, is Betty Crocker, and she's got the kid, and she's on the PTA, and then all of a sudden her car hits a deer, and she gets hit on the head, and all these people come to kill her, and then she starts showing signs of being an assassin. It's a great movie.
Which one?
And then The Long Kiss Goodnight.
Oh yeah, it's been a while. Like yeah.
It's great. And then she slowly becomes this assassin, and then kind of gets like mother traits, and then starts to instead she pushes the kid away, and then she takes the kid because she is a mother. It's a great film. I was waiting for something like that with this. I thought there was going to be that Laurie was going to be this Betty Crocker, I'm making pies, and I'm living in this white picket fence house, and then all of a sudden Michael shows up, and she pulls open the closet door, and there's like a barrage of guns, and she just changes from this Betty Crocker
Like she's living the life that she wants to live, knowing that Michael's gone, but ready just in case,
Yeah, because they never found his body, so they have no idea where it is. So why she would be so calm?
Well,
Now,
because you have to, if it's
paranoid.
been like a while, you have to, like, at some point you gotta lower your guard and start trying to live your life,
But the town didn't. See, that's what makes no sense to me. This town, even 4 years later, people are committing suicide and all that stuff, and that didn't make sense to me. I mean, that's if you've ever read the book for Jaws 2, which is very different from the movie, in the movie, the town is fine. But in the book, because of what happened, the town is like boarded up. Like nobody is coming there to the beaches. It's like a ghost town. So I would think, because of all, I don't know. I don't, they're showing people really happy and shit, and then they're showing people that are committing suicide, and then we got these kids that are bullying Corey, saying, well, we need a new killer to blame things on, so we're going to ostracize Corey. Well, Michael was never found, so wouldn't he still be the killer? Why would they?
Wouldn't he still be the thing that they're scared of? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, he now is literally the boogeyman who can get you at night.
Yeah, so I don't know. I was not happy with the idea of Corey being the big centerpiece.
I think he's too, and granted, Dahmer and all these guys were kind of boy next door type of things. So maybe that's what they were going for, is the kid next door who you wouldn't suspect.
The one shot I did like is the fact that they did do the scene with him at the was it at the bushes staring up at Jamie.
That was kind of funny. Yeah.
It was good. It worked. Like that scene really worked for me. I was like, okay, so he's now Michael. He's taking the place of Michael, and I was actually on board with that.
Transferred evil.
Yeah,
so Michael is supernatural. He's not human, even though Corey beats him down and grabs his mask off and says, see, you're just a human. Somehow Michael can transfer evil from his eyes to Corey's eyes. So he's not human. He's supernatural.
It's a little too confusing because they don't necessarily say that. And at one point, I guess the kid didn't have that like evil look in his eyes, but the father of the kid he killed was like, I looked into his eyes and they did not look the same as before.
I'm sorry, we're getting the same point of view that the dad had, and his eyes look perfectly normal to me.
Yeah, I saw them and I was like, really? Like what?
They're not
black. Like, I would have thought he was high, maybe, but I wouldn't have thought evil. I
mean, I would have, if they're gonna do somebody wimpy who can't stick up to themselves from people in band, then which I really want to talk to these guys. I really want to talk to Danny McBride and stuff and just say, was this meant to be a joke?
Yeah.
Was this meant to be funny? Because people have also compared this to Christine, which is why people are saying Stephen King likes it, is because it's Christine.
I'm surprised that like because somebody compared it on Twitter to Christine to on Steven's tweet, right? And as far as I know, Steven did not respond to that, which I don't know if he just didn't want to or whatnot, but like I wonder if that was like
Well, there's obviously a comparison because both of the kids' names are Cunningham.
right. Well, yeah, there's that comparison with that, and um, let's see what did he say? Because Steven's just been on his own, like on his own stuff, saying a lot of like, oh, I like this, I like that, like he's been mentioning all these different movie, like he goes, the movie The Terrifier looks pretty good. Has anyone seen it? Like Stephen King writes this, I'm like, what the hell? But he goes, I enjoyed Halloween Ends. It doesn't reinvent the wheel, but it's gasp. Surprisingly character driven. No, it's not. There's but Bill Moseley asked him, how'd you like Halloween 3?
Okay, so bringing that up, have you seen the memes that deal with the font and the colors?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, so do you think this is meant to be Halloween 3?
In the
like,
sense,
once again, is that intentional? Is that font and colors intentional?
Well, in a sense, I mean, it's weird because okay, so this Halloween 2018, right, is a direct sequel to Halloween's 1978, right? But it's just called Halloween 2018 is what we always call it right now.
Right.
Nobody's calling it David Gordon Green's Halloween, but everybody's calling it Rob Zombie's.
Dates now. Ghostbusters 2016. Everything is a date.
Yeah. All the remakes or whatever, except Ghostbusters Afterlife, but that was a sequel. So
well, that's because it has a subtitle.
Yeah. So yeah, and this is, this should have been like Halloween Returns, or whatever. But I guess they didn't want it to sound hokey, and they were doing that thing.
Already hokey.
I don't really like Halloween 2018 as the thing because I really hate it when they do a sequel, but they still call it a like they're gonna do with The Exorcist, which I am not a fan of. I do not want to see it now. Like, I have no interest in watching The Exorcist done by David Gordon Green and Danny McBride. I think they're gonna fuck that up.
And they're doing a Hellraiser series, aren't they?
Yeah, they're doing a Hellraiser series as well. And I got flack for saying stuff about that. I'm sorry, but if I'm not a fan of it, I'm gonna talk about how I'm not a fan of it.
I'm gonna talk shit about Disney. They're doing an Alien series and they're gonna fuck it up. Just like everything else Disney does. It's gonna be all woke. It's gonna be, that the Indian or that the alien goes by pronouns. I mean, it's I don't know.
Are they gonna have a trans alien? That'd be interesting.
They might. You never know.
Hey, look, I would actually be okay with that just because it's kind of funny, like the idea of a trans alien. I would a xenomorph, like I'd be okay with that just to see what a trans xenomorph looks like.
Well, and I like, so if you want to go out of the box, I really like the remake of Hellraiser, and the woman who plays Pinhead is trans.
Oh,
and I thought that she did. Yeah, I thought that she did a good job. I enjoyed the film. I liked it.
I just don't understand why they just keep taking these horror suits. But anyway, to go back, they're doing The Exorcist. They're doing it the same exact way. It's going to be Exorcist 2023, and it's going to be a direct sequel to the first Exorcist. So it's going to pretend like the heretic, never existed, right?
And 3, which is 3 never existed. Movie.
And everybody loves 3, including Jeffrey Dahmer. But everybody loves 3.
He does.
Apparently, that's what he kept watching on loop. That's what we found out through that show. And real quick, I do want to apologize to all the people, like the poor victims' families who have to sort of relive that in a way. It's terrible. But in a way, like a lot of people who were young might not know who Jeffrey Dahmer was, and it's a little bit of history, even though it's a little graphic and a little not cool. I'm not going to do a review of it like I planned because it is a little bit of a touchy subject to some people, and stuff about that. So, I understand. Are you there? Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm just listening. So
Okay.
because
I was like, oh shit. You were just paused like this. Like I was like, oh.
no, I was just listening because I don't mind films like this being made at all. So
Oh, the Dahmer series and stuff. Yeah.
well, any of these things. I mean, I mean, they've made this isn't the first Dahmer series or movie.
Yeah.
I mean, this is like number 10. So it's like Ted Bundy. There's like 10 of those. John Wayne Gacy. There's 10 of those. There's Ed Gein. There's like 10 of those. So but
And I think that they
but it
were,
was
yeah, but
I was gonna say with the Bandcamp guys. So when Bandcamp, see now I did it with the band guys. If they had used Michael, like I'd mentioned, like Son of Frankenstein, and let's say, and Igor is weak, the monster is not. So if Corey got the shit kicked out of him, then after he's with Michael and he sends Michael to kill some of these people, Corey then gets his ass kicked. Then Michael could come and in very universal fashion, and Rob Zombie did this in his, is he picks Corey up and walks with him back to the sewer.
mm-hmm.
Like you could have him throughout the whole movie doing stuff, and then he gives the mantle to to Corey instead of Corey kicking the shit out of him and taking the mask when he had his own. It was a scarecrow mask, so I was trying to figure it out if there was some sort of symbolism with that. Like, why did they choose the scarecrow? Which I don't know. Maybe nobody had a brain while they were thinking this was a good idea.
Didn't they? Didn't they make some kind of reference to the brain or something? In it because of the fact that he had the scarecrow mask. Like, didn't they make some kind of joke on like Wizard of Oz or something? I don't know.
I don't think so. Or at least I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't know. It was honestly
because also what other people are doing is they're showing clips and they're saying Michael and it's Corey. So I've now watched a couple things where they're showing Corey killing the DJ, and they're like, "Well, Michael Myers killed this DJ." No, he didn't. It was Corey.
Corey and the Michael Myers mask. Yeah.
Yeah. So stop saying that. Stop. It's you're misleading people that are watching your video.
Yeah, Corey is the main killer. The only person that Michael goes after is Laurie, and in the movie. The rest are all except even the mom, I think, even Corey's mom didn't Corey, because I swear to God, it must be Corey, because that would mean that like somehow or another Michael knew exactly where Corey lived in order to kill his mom.
That has been brought up on some reviews, and it is Michael doing these things because Corey kills the doctor,
right?
But then Michael kills the slutty nurse,
right? So they're helping each other out.
Yeah, which I don't mind. I kind of like that idea. Okay, Michael's old and brittle. Okay, train Corey to be this killer, but don't kill him at the end, and just have him continue it. But how do they get around? Does Michael sit on the back of his motorcycle like a bitch, holding him?
Dude, I want to see what is that a deleted scene? Because I want to see that. Like
because he doesn't have a car.
That's funny.
Does Corey even know how to drive a car? If not, I know Michael does because he does in the first movie.
Or if you want to see a really great short, Adam Green did a great short that is was it Michael's driving test, and it's Michael Myers driving, and Joel God, what's his name? He was in Hatchet. Joel Moore, I want to say is his name. Um, you know what I'm talking about?
No.
Okay. Joel David Moore, who you might know from like Avatar or Dodgeball or stuff like that. But he's like sort of like a geeky looking guy. He was in
I don't know.
Hatchet, whatever. Anyway, he's a driving instructor in the short, and it's really fucking funny. Just because the idea of like Michael trying to drive, but also be Michael, so he's trying to kill the driver while he's trying to learn how to drive. Things like that. Like it's just what would it be like if you're teaching Michael Myers how to drive?
That does sound fun. I'll have
Yeah.
to look for that then. Yeah. Because I mean, how would they get around? I mean, that does the
He had to learn
and
how to drive somehow. You know,
yeah.
you can't just drive. And then, but it's from that one line in Halloween where somebody must have given him lessons. You know, which was a throwaway line just because people would
Well,
probably ask, how did
he's
he?
being sarcastic. He's being well, how can Michael drive a car? Well, somebody gave him lessons. I don't think he literally means somebody gave him lessons. He's just being sarcastic.
Somebody had to because he learned how
Well,
to drive.
it's really not that hard to drive a car. I
I
mean,
don't know. I like it
as
took
long as the
me.
car's not a stick shift. I mean, if it's an automatic, it's pretty simple.
You know, it would be funny to see. You know, whatever. Oh, anyway, go ahead.
I mean, none of this stuff to me. The couple things I did like is I did like when like Lori leaves the supermarket and it's got the two black women and it's got the one from the last movie who gets the light shoved in her neck.
Mhm.
She was playing with the drone. I like that. I liked with her there and
And her,
how
well, and
Lori
her
was very
getting mad, like how, how dare you be, you know, living your life when you're the reason why all this shit has happened in a way, which is not true. Like she can,
it's actually, well, everybody knew what she was doing in the first film and she was totally wrong. I mean, the doctor was the one who led Michael Myers to her.
right.
Yeah, which a lot of people think the doctor is actually the one who ran the bus off the road and let Michael loose.
Maybe.
So it's pretty much, they even mention it in Kills because they had to answer every freaking thing in Halloween Kills,
Yeah.
that it was the doctor who brought Michael to her house, that Michael didn't even know who she was. So Michael was, I mean, what an ego Laurie has in setting up that whole compound. I mean, what if the doctor didn't do it? What if the doctor had a heart attack or whatever? I mean, it's a good thing that the doctor did do that. But it's which is why I think now Michael would come after her, sure.
Right.
Because they had that confrontation. But I'm sorry, I don't know. I mean, maybe, I hate to use this as an example, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the new one, where they have the supposed to be the character from the first film, where she's just waiting to hear about Leatherface. To me, that would have been better in this. Once again, she's, Jamie's Betty Crocker. She's living her life. She's on the PTA, whatever it is. And then all of a sudden it's, there's a lot of bums missing. There's a lot of homeless people missing. She's like, wait. And all of a sudden that apron gets ripped off. And then she goes after Michael again. I mean, I get why people, it's different. So a lot of people are going to like it. But okay, let's have a Friday the 13th film without Jason. We did. It's called Jason Goes to Hell. But let's have no Jason in it, period. Let's have a Hellraiser movie with literally no Cenobites.
Yeah.
I mean, is that good? Is that a good idea?
We already had a Halloween movie with no Michael.
And people hated it.
Yeah.
And on Red Letter Media, they point out that people were upset with the first film because it didn't have enough. So when they did get enough in part 2, they still bitched. And now when they're not getting enough, they're still bitching, which is where I think they're wrong with Halloween Kills. There was too much. There's only so much you need to fit in.
Right.
You don't need to answer every single question that people have put out there.
And you
And
don't need you don't need evil never dies like a million times. You don't need your evil dies tonight, whatever that crap. Or you don't need and him killing off my Anthony Michael Hall's character just annoyed me because I'm like, this whole time, was it that supposed to be some kind of like stab at him as like, okay, we're bringing him back, bringing that character back, which wasn't Anthony Michael Hall's. Originally there was another character actor, Brian or something, that played the little kid, right, or whatever, Tommy, I think it was his name, right?
yeah,
And then
who is such
Tommy
a wimp.
Doyle.
If you've seen interviews with him, he's like a lawyer. He's like such a wimpy guy. So it's like,
Right.
oh, good. I'm glad they didn't bring him back. Bring back Paul Rudd if you know something like that.
Well, they tried, and I think Paul Rudd was busy doing Ant-Man or whatever, one of the Ant-Mans or something at the time. So he was locked in on Marvel, and he couldn't do that. But they ended up bringing Anthony Michael Hall, which I thought was a great choice because I like Anthony
And so
Michael
I'm
Hall.
a huge fan. In fact, right over here, I have the whole Dead Zone series.
Nice.
So
I
I
love
think
him
he's
to
a very
death, and
underrated actor.
yeah, I think so too. And I've met him. He's a really nice guy. He's, kind of cool. So like, it was like, oh my God, this dude is this, and then they kill him off, and I'm like,
And
what's the whole
there's
point of it?
no mention of him at all in the third film. Like
Right.
nothing. Like no, there's not a toast. There's nothing like that when they're in the
Oh,
bar
yeah,
that
with
Lindsay's
Kyle
working
Richards'
at.
character, who uh I I was kind of really disappointed that, I mean, because like her character was so boring, you know? Like she was sort of like,
Well, because she's just a little girl in the first film.
yeah,
Okay.
it's like it was like but she was in the second movie and she had a more fun arc with her. Like they did shit with her. This one they didn't. I mean, honestly, had they killed her off too, I would have been okay because
Oh
now
yeah.
like it didn't, she did not matter at all in this one, you know like she didn't do anything, she was just
Right.
there. It was like, okay, well, we had her in that one and she lived, so we'll have to bring her back and have her have conversations with Laurie. Would Did she even really know Laurie that much? Like, like in this, if I'm correct, in Halloween Kills, Laurie's in the fucking hospital most of the time or whatever, not leaving the hospital, right?
Right.
And
90%
so,
of the film. Yeah.
yeah. So, and which I think people are really pissed off about that because, like, what, was the point? And then, so in the, in this one, in Halloween Ends, she comes back, that character, but she's now hanging out with Laurie. And I'm like, why? Like she's like 20 years younger or something. Not 20 years, maybe 10 years
Well,
younger.
that's what I think one of the best parts of Halloween 2018 is when the teenager, the boyfriend goes, yeah, but he only killed like 3 people back then. Was that, or 2 people? Like, how is that a big deal compared to what goes on today?
Yeah.
And the girlfriend goes, shut up, stop being a dick. And that's what I always thought was so funny with the 2018 version is, I mean, there are mass shootings all the time out here now. I mean, and as horrible as they are, people do put their lives back together. I mean, we had one out here in Las Vegas,
Mm-hmm.
and it is rarely talked about. Like, life just continued on, it was really for a few months and then it just kind of disappeared. So, which is wrong. I think maybe we should probably do more, but that's just one guy who killed like 2 people, 3 people. And, Laurie is like held up in this bunker. I mean, it doesn't
No.
really make sense. And then Michael doesn't even know who she is.
Yeah, I
That's
like
why
that you
he
brought that
almost
up.
needed
What?
I was gonna say he almost, they showed the picture in Halloween Ends. Laurie looks up and we see the two friends, right? Like the picture from Halloween. You
Mm-hmm.
almost needed Michael Myers in Halloween 2018 to be in the house and, kind of like, who is this woman? And then he looks up and sees that it's her. And he's like, oh shit, I killed your two friends. Now I'm going to kill you. Like he almost needs a reminder because how
Yeah.
would he know who she is?
Yeah, especially like what 40 years later, or whatever, like,
Yeah.
like seriously, he doesn't have any care. He if you want to think about it, he literally just wanted to go back home. Like because or whatever. Oh, I'm in Hatfield. Let me go to my old house. Let me go see the stomping grounds, you
Yeah.
know? Like, and as far as we know, he doesn't have any like feelings about killing people, really, you know?
No, no, because he seemed to be fine in the institution when he was standing in his own little square. He seemed to be
Right.
okay. He was even ignoring the reporter yelling at him. And
Yeah.
then he seems to be fine getting onto the bus because he was being transferred. And I do go off the theory that the doctor is the one who crashed the bus, or at least let Michael out. But he's like a wild animal. If you keep the wild animal in a cage, he's not going to kill anybody. But if you let the animal out, yeah, then the animal's going to go kill people.
Yeah.
And so that's what Michael does. He's just like a shark, or a lion. He just goes and kills. So the doctor lets him out, and he ends up killing everybody, including a kid, which I thought was pretty awesome. And
You don't really see that in many movies.
no, and I think that's a shame. And I don't advocate for killing children because that's maybe what it sounds like. But it's so rare in Hollywood when a kid gets killed, especially a
Yeah, I mean,
horror
I was
movie.
shocked to see it again in this new one.
That
That kid
was
died.
God, that was brutal but hilarious at the same. Yeah, especially how he kind of does this.
Yeah.
I mean, it's shocking, and you feel bad at first for laughing at it. And I did actually rewind it. I went back like 30 seconds, 40 seconds, whatever it is,
Yeah.
and just watched him drop because it just looks so funny. And I don't know if it was intentional or not because of who made the movie.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, once again, I am not a fan of the fact that I swear to God, I do not think that David Gordon Green or or
Danny McBride.
what
Danny McBride.
Danny McBride are horror fans. I think they are movie fans, and they wanted to try their hand at horror. And 2018 was such a big hit, and Halloween Kills did pretty well, even though people hated it, but it did pretty well in the box office. That it was all of a sudden, okay, well, let's give them this franchise next, that they can put out at Halloween every year. And now all of a sudden, and I'm like, I don't want to see any more franchises go to these guys. Like, I really don't. I'm afraid like that's just what Blumhouse is going to do from now on until people don't buy tickets to the movies, for it. And so I'm very happy I didn't go to the theater for this. Apparently, it did well enough where I think they can just cut their losses and kind of, go with the next one and hope that the Exorcist, you know, sequel does well. I mean,
I doubt it. It is so unnecessary.
I think also when, and people are like, oh, I'm going to reserve my judgment for when I see it. And I'm like, you should start reserving a judgment now before you see it, because the problem is you reserve your judgment until you see it means you're going to go see it sight unseen, and you're going to be giving money to these people to help them out, to help them make more movies like this. So I do not like it. I'm not a fan, but what the fuck can I do, right?
So Halloween Kills was Halloween Ends was its budget was 20 to 30 million. So far it has made 61.1 million.
That's
It's a
made
hit.
it's more than double its budget. Yeah.
Yeah, films got to make double their budget to do that. And yeah, so I mean it's I don't know. I mean, are I don't know.
That's what
I
I'm saying. I'm
just
saying like the next movie, if it makes double its budget, on it, if it's 20 million and it makes 60 million on Exorcist, they're gonna do Exorcist 2, Exorcist 3, Exorcist kills, Exorcist ends. Then they're
but
gonna what
but that seems
next? Nightmare on Elm Street? Are they gonna fuck up Freddy
sure,
Krueger? Jaws?
sure, because these
Because
people
Jaws is
can't.
a Universal thing. Is Blumhouse gonna steal Jaws now? Fuck
Oh,
that all up.
I would not doubt that at all.
And it's gonna start,
Because
if they did do what you said and they made Jaws 2 directly from the book Jaws 2 from Peter Benchley, sounds like it might be kind of fun. This sounds like a different movie.
oh, two wasn't done by Benchley.
Oh, 2 wasn't done by Benchley? Okay.
No,
Well,
just the first one.
so okay, so 2 was an adaptation of the movie, but with different stuff, right? Or was it?
No, the book came out after the movie, so the book is adaptation of the film, but they wrote a like a completely different story. So
Weird.
Yeah,
because that's why I thought Benchley did it, because I'm like, oh, interesting.
I mean, if you look at stuff that David Gordon Green did, okay, George Washington, good film. Real Girl, All the Real Girls, good film. Undertow, good film. Snow Angels, have not seen it. Pineapple Express, good film. Your Highness, hit and miss, but not bad. The Sitter, not bad. Prince Avalanche, never heard of it. Joe, that's the Nicolas Cage movie, never saw it. I don't know what this is. Maglehorn or something? I don't know what that is. Our Brand is Crisis. Oh, I know of that. He didn't direct it though. I'm sorry, yeah, he did direct it. Goat, he didn't direct. Stronger, never. Oh, I know. Okay, yeah, never saw it. Halloween Kills. Yeah, there's Exorcist. I mean, the guy has a good track record. He's got some dramas in here.
Oh, he directed a couple episodes of Mythic Quest. I actually like that show. And Dickinson. Okay. I like his TV,
Well, he's great with Danny McBride. I mean, Eastbound and Down is brilliant. Vice Principals was brilliant. The Righteous Gemstones, just still going, is brilliant. The Sex Lives of College Girls is really good. He didn't create that though. That's Mindy Kaling, but it's very good. Yeah, there's Hellraiser to be announced. Hellraiser. So I don't know. The guy's got a good track record with stuff, but it's just, yeah, maybe he just shouldn't have directed horror, because all these guys, it's kind of like Jordan Peele.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't seen Nope, and I thought Get Out was great, and I really enjoyed Us. But is he the next Spielberg? Is he the next Hitchcock? Is he the next Rod Serling? Is he and that's what they tend to put these people as. All of a sudden, it's like, oh, well, let's give Jordan Peele Twilight Zone. Why? Yeah. Why? We tried this with M. Night, and it didn't work. Oh my God, he's the next Spielberg, is what they called him. No, he isn't. If let's say he's made 10 movies, probably 8 of them are shit and 2 are good.
Who?
M. Night Shyamalan.
Oh, M. Night. Okay, I thought you were saying Jordan Peele, and I'm like, he's only made a couple, know. And one movie so far was amazing, which was Get Out, and I think that's what fucked up Blumhouse, honestly, because they probably were not expecting Get Out to be that successful as a movie, and it became this huge success, and it helped them get money to make other movies.
And as you know, the Candyman that he produced is my favorite Candyman.
Yep.
So I think it's the best out of the series.
I do not like Nope. I thought it was.
I really want to see Nope.
I just wasn't a fan, but you might like it. I did not like. I thought Us was okay, but I think the ending killed it for me. Like it was really good. I was liking it. I was digging it. I was like, okay, but I was like, this is not Get Out, quality in my opinion. But it was, it did well enough in the beginning, and then at the end it just completely did it M Night, where they tried to do it to the
Well, it had the
twist.
twist.
At
Yeah,
the
yeah.
twist at the end, and I just didn't like it. I was like, it wasn't my kind of twist. And that's fine. He went there. They did that with Nope. They tried to do a twist in Nope, and I was like, I don't like it. But it's one of those things where you know Jordan Peele so far. I've liked one of his movies all the way through. I loved one of his movies all the way through. The rest I think are just okay. They're not terrible movies. Nope has a lot of problems in my opinion, but I think I already reviewed that. So horror blend coffee did that.
Well,
So
I think people just they're told what to like and they like it. I mentioned that with Ghostbusters Afterlife. Is it better than 2016 Ghostbusters? Yeah, it's Citizen Kane compared to that.
right.
But but is it a good movie? No, not really. It really isn't.
I thought
And
it had some
it's
moments that were not great, but then I enjoyed it. I don't know.
it's
I
just a remake of the first movie. There was no point in having like the little marshmallow guys around, except for nostalgia
merchandising,
reasons.
merchandising. They
It
needed
well,
little, they needed little
I mean,
plushies of those little guys and stuff.
well, and people are told to like it, so they like it. They saw Ghostbusters when they were a kid, so now they can
I
bring
think
their kid to the
literally,
new
it,
Ghostbusters.
I think literally it was because they were trying to get the taste of that 2016 Ghostbusters out of their mouth, and they were like, anything,
Well, there might be that too. Yeah, yeah.
anything would have looked better. But I honestly, I don't know. Like I liked it. I enjoyed it. I haven't bought it on 4K yet, but eventually I will. I need to get. Honestly, I want to get Ghostbusters 2 before I get four Ghostbusters, yeah, Afterlife on 4K. I mean, in my ranking of that, it would be Ghostbusters, Ghostbusters 2, then Ghostbusters Afterlife as my ranking. Like I like two more than that one, but I think that's because it felt like a continuation with everything. With this
My
one, it
ranking
felt,
would be the same.
and then of course 2016 would be like way back there. I think that'll be
I
whatever's
wouldn't even count it.
last, because I
Well,
just,
and that's what I think. But that's what I think with Halloween Ends is that you're just told to like it and you like it. I'm sorry, I'm going to offend people, and I don't really
no,
care. I think
also,
that you people have bad taste, and I was told that I have bad taste, and it's just like, no, I'm sorry. If you're a filmmaker and you're on Facebook and you're out there making movies, I have to question you when I see stuff like this, when you're saying that this is a well-written Halloween movie. If this film was called Corey and he finds like a serial killer in a sewer who trains him to be a serial killer, then that's a whole different thing. But if you're saying this is a good Halloween movie, you're wrong. You're just wrong because it's not.
or if it was the other story that it probably was, my take on it, there was no guy in a sewer. That was just they had to fit into Halloween in there, right? So the guy in the sewer thing there, I think what would have happened if this was a different movie is Corey would have been teased or hurt, he would have been pushed over that balcony, and at that point his eyes would turn red, and he would be so angry at this world that doesn't like him anymore that he goes on the killing spree. And he doesn't need, Michael to train him. He will just do this on his own because he's been pushed to that limit. I would have liked that story better, honestly. We don't need Michael Miyagi, we don't need him. We need, we need a story where we can actually be, and
I don't know why Stephen King said that stuff. Maybe a lot of people, I feel like a lot of people are liking it because everybody's hating on it. And so everybody's like, they got to be the people who go against the grain, and they've got to be the people who say, oh man, this is a different story than what I was expecting. I kind of liked it, you know? Um, and that's fine. But like, be
But
honest, you're
but
only
what
liking
I
it because everybody else hates it.
well, and there, I think there's definitely some of that. There are people out there who will, who hate good movies and love bad movies because of that type of thing,
Yeah.
and they purposely do it, um, and I just see people on Facebook just going, "Oh my God, it's great! Oh my God, it's so great! I love this movie." Well, didn't you just say that about Hocus Pocus 2? That Hocus Pocus 2 was the greatest movie ever made? I
Well,
mean, how many greatest movies ever made are out there? I mean, don't I don't sit there. I'm a huge fan of Top Gun Maverick, but I don't go around going, it was the greatest movie ever made. It's a good movie, and I'm glad to see the position that it's at. But it's like, is it the greatest movie ever made? No,
mhm.
no, it's not. Just it's like everybody goes like hyper with this shit, and it's like, I don't know, maybe I am that guy that likes the stuff that other people don't. I mean, the Candyman remake, I loved. I loved Matrix Resurrections. I loved it. Everybody else hated it.
Okay, I don't know if you can see this, probably can't. Can you read that?
Oh, that depends. Yeah.
That's funny. Um, I don't know. I'm looking at my Facebook trying to find people have stopped talking about it. I think it's the thing is, and you talked about this, we need to get this out, ASAP, because the problem is people are going to move on to Black Adam in a second, you know, and everybody's going to say either that's the worst movie or the best movie.
Yeah,
That's
I've
just
heard
going to be the
really
new
bad
thing.
things about that one.
I know. And you know what? That's the thing. Like people are going to it's going to be whatever's the flavor of the literally the week, like it's whatever Hollywood has thrown into you and has said this is the movie you need to pay attention to, you know marketing wise or whatever, and then it goes away because the next week there's another movie out in the theater, right? And that's the movie, or it's a movie on Netflix, TV show on Netflix, or Amazon, or Hulu, or Disney Plus, whatever. There's all these different stuff happening right now that we have so much content that after a while people just stop talking about this stuff. Like people moved on, and even like people will be like, that's so a week ago, because literally that's how we kind of view films these days.
Well, that's why I think people are hyperbolic, and they like, I couldn't understand what people were saying that Texas Chainsaw Massacre was good. It's not good.
It's
It
not.
was not a good movie. Stop calling bad stuff good. You can enjoy bad stuff. I like Jeepers Creepers Reborn, but it's not a good movie. I'm one of the few people who actually enjoyed it, I think. But I can at least say it wasn't a good movie.
Right.
And if you happen to like, Halloween Ends, then that's fine. You can like whatever you want. I think you're wrong.
Right.
And people are posting that Stephen King thing, and my comment to that is said by the man who gave us Maximum Overdrive.
Hey,
So
I
it's
enjoy
true.
that movie.
It's a bad, great movie.
He
But
also gave
that's
us the greatest creep show like
but he didn't
segment.
direct it though.
All right, you didn't direct that. No, you're right. But he
I
gave.
mean, I mean, some people are commenting like, well, he's an international bestseller of 70 novels and stuff. Those are books. They're also that thick because he's even admitted to it, diarrhea of the pen. And he knows some of his stuff is not good, like Tommy Knockers and some of this other stuff is not good. He's admitted that. So at least he can admit it. So stop using Stephen King as your basis for this being good. I mean, granted, he did say that with Evil Dead when that originally came out, but I think that is actually a better example.
Yeah. I don't know. I haven't seen Peter Jackson say this movie's good, and he said that about Cabin Fever. You know, yeah. I mean, I like Cabin Fever. I'll take Cabin Fever over Halloween Ends any day. You know, the original, not the
I
shot
love the
for shot
original
remake,
Cabin
which
Fever.
makes no sense whatsoever.
That was
Do
an
that.
awful movie. I
Yeah,
own all three Cabin Fevers, but I will not own the remake.
yeah. You're on the first actual. What? That doesn't count in your collection. I thought
The
you're a
remake,
completist.
I am, but on some things, I just cannot put them in my collection. I mean, if I found it for like $1.50, maybe,
You
sure,
find it
why
at the
not?
$1.25 store.
Yeah, if Dollar Tree had it, I would pick it up for $1.25. Sure, then it would enter it. I said that the remake of Prom Night would never enter my collection, and the DVD did, because it's a double disc DVD that I got from, I think it was like deep discount, and it was like $3, and it's
Yeah,
got all this
that's
shit on, all these special features, and it's unrated, and so I said, what the hell, I'll pick that up because it's got a ton of stuff, but
so.
overall,
I saw this. I want to go to talk about Jamie Lee Curtis real quick. So I saw this interview with her and Jimmy Kimmel recently, and he talked about obviously they're talking a lot about Halloween, the Halloween fans, but she loves the Halloween fans, right? But she doesn't like horror. You know, she is not into horror. She wouldn't, if she wasn't in the Halloween movies, she wouldn't watch any of them. And she
right.
hasn't watched any of them. In fact, there's a discussion about how Danielle Harris and Scout Taylor Compton went to, and they did a whole like interview about it. And they talked about how they went to the Halloween Ends and they weren't happy with it, just like most Halloween fans, some of the Halloween fans aren't happy with it. And they said that apparently Jamie Lee Curtis didn't even know who they were, you know. And I'm like, and I was talking to a friend of mine about it, and they're like, well, that's kind of fair because, like they're not big celebrities, or whatever, right? But I'm like, they're part of a series of films that you're connected to, like you haven't watched any of these, or you don't just, nobody said, oh, Danielle Harris to you, and you're not like, oh, I want to see who played my daughter in part 4, like I don't get it,
Well, she's actually kind of getting on my nerves, and just like for, I think it was Halloween Kills with the like the whole panic thing in the hospital, and in an interview that she gave, she goes, oh yes, it's very reminiscent to Black Lives Matter. No, it isn't. It has
What?
nothing to do with Black Lives Matter.
Did she actually say that?
Yeah, the interview is out there, and some of the videos that I watched for the reviews on Halloween Ends, mention that, put that in the video, and she got kind of political with Halloween Kills, and it's like, stop it. I mean, I'm a Democrat, I support Black Lives Matter, but Halloween Kills has nothing to do with Black Lives Matter. And now she's just starting to, I mean, just to get on my nerves. I mean, I really wanted her to be like the new Betty White, and I really like her, but kind of for a while now, she's been on this, I don't know, she's just getting on my nerves now.
Yeah,
And
you're
she's
right.
kind of
She
all,
said she continued, and we're seeing it everywhere at the Black Lives Matter movement. We're seeing it in action. And Halloween Kills, weirdly enough, dovetailed onto that, preceded it, and it was written before that occurred. So when you see it, it's a seething group of people moving through the story as a big angry group. It's really, 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 really tense. It's a masterpiece. Halloween Kills was a masterpiece.
it's done. She said that David Gordon Green is a genius.
I mean, look, he is a genius. You mentioned earlier George Washington, all the real girls, Undertow, Undertow is by far one of my favorite, like independent, like whatever. He is fucking amazing as a director. Pineapple Express. I don't know how he did it, but he made a movie where I really cared about James Franco and Seth Rogen together doing
Smoking pot.
smoking pot and dealing with all this drug shit going on and stuff. Like, I loved it. Then if they did more, if he continued with more of that, then I'm fine. He got into horror, and I'm like, he is not Sam Raimi. He's not Sam Raimi can do different to use Jamie Lee Curtis's thing, dovetail. He can dovetail into different genres. I like his Western, The Quick and the Dead. I like which I don't like Westerns, and you know that. I've told you this millions of times. I'm not a big fan of Westerns, but give me a Sam Raimi Western any day, and I'm down with it. For Love of the Game, great fucking movie. Spider-Man, obviously 1 and 2, not 3. Ooh, we don't talk about 3. But Sam Raimi is a fantastic filmmaker, and he can do horror. That's how he got to start. But David Gordon Green is not Sam Raimi, in my opinion. He's a great director for comedy and drama, not for that.
But that's why I liked it that he came on to Halloween. That's because if you look at something like Bride of Chucky, that director,
yeah, but if you combine horror and comedy together, that works. But
it was a completely different movie. Up until then, we just had parts 1 through 3 that were dead serious.
Mm-hmm.
And then he added humor to it, and that kind of changed everything. And
right.
Bride is considered to be the best. So if you take the director who does all of these martial arts movies overseas, then they're like,
Ronnie
Yu. Ronnie, yeah, why not you do a Chucky movie? Then it's he's like, well, I've never seen Chucky before. In some ways that works. So when it's bringing up Seth Rogen, it's kind of like when Seth Rogen was doing Green Hornet.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, okay, maybe this is a Michael Keaton, Tim Burton Batman situation where people are like, why is Beetlejuice Batman?
Right.
And now everybody loves Michael Keaton. So I thought, okay, maybe Seth Rogen would do the same thing. Wow, was I wrong? But a horrible fucking movie. But
I wonder if Kevin Smith has said anything, or if he's going to say something this week about Halloween Ends. Maybe he was waiting for at least a week to talk about it. He's gonna love it, and then he's gonna cry. There is stop making fun of my boy, man.
All he does is cry. There's something mentally wrong with him.
I love him. And you know what? Whatever. Anyway, what?
It's like, wait till you see Clerks 3.
I've heard different things. I've heard mixed reviews, so I'm going with an open mind. When I see it.
I laughed twice.
What?
Maybe I laughed twice. Maybe.
Okay. Well. Anyway, the point is, Kevin Smith has a thing again. Like, I think David Gordon Green and him both coming up in the indie circuit and stuff. Relatively at the same time. I think Kevin was earlier, but George Washington was, I want to say 99 maybe or so.
Close 2000.
Okay. That's a lot closer than I've been recently. I've been getting dates off like whoa. So that was good. Because actually my first thought was 95, but I was like, no, that's like kids. Like there's no way that George Washington would be then. So 2000 makes sense. But yeah, so I think there was a lot of comparisons to them, and I think David Gordon Green was not a huge fan necessarily of Kevin's humor and stuff. And it's different humor, But I don't know if he said anything about Halloween Kills or Halloween 2018. So I don't know if
I got to be honest, and I don't care.
I do. I like to hear what
because he's a shell. I mean, a shell. He's a shell, I think is how they say it. For these type of things. I mean, the guy freaking likes everything.
Generally, but he didn't like I don't know. I don't know what he didn't like. I know he didn't like something. Sure, and maybe he would say nice things about
I
Halloween.
think that he is absolutely and completely wrong about Tim Burton's, Planet of the Apes. I I'm glad that Smith is where he is, because I don't think that he would do anything good outside of what he's doing, and what he's doing isn't even good.
Hey, stop that shit. I
He
like I
he needs to retire. So it's. But to go back to what
not
we
in
were
my
talking about,
opinion.
I mean, I don't. Well, he wants to make Clerks 4, so uh, I don't think it's a bad idea to have somebody out of their box do something that they haven't done before, because they could do a fresh perspective on it, which is why
Right.
I thought Halloween 2018 was so good, even with its flaws and questions and all that. I really liked it and had a lot of hope. And okay, fine, you fucked up with Halloween Kills.
Make it up with Halloween. Like you said, it's Force Awakens, the Last Jedi. Good God, like wow, what a left field, what a terrible fuck up.
Yeah,
Let's get over that. Let's make Rise of Skywalker where fans are sort of like, okay, we're back on board. Like okay, this gave us enough stuff to finish it up and be okay, and then move on from that. Because if you know anything about, I mean, if you know anything, what you do, but if anybody knows anything about Star Wars now, it's like it's taken forever for them to do another thing, another set of movies, because these three just didn't go the way they were hoping. And I was hoping that that was what would happen with this. I mean, it is sort of happening with Halloween, because I don't think we're going to get another Halloween for probably, 4 years at least. I'm hoping that that the Blumhouse loses the rights, it goes to somebody else, and they try their hand at doing something else to bring back Michael. No more remakes. Just actually, at this rate, I don't know what to do, because what can you do? You can't like add.
space.
Hmm, everybody goes to space. Come on,
Well, that's
Leprechaun was in space.
what, send him to space, or do a team up, do Halloween where he meets Pinhead.
Well, whoever owns those things have to buy it next then, and stuff. And I would love to see, there's a series of shorts or so, and I don't know how they're doing it or not, but they're in the film festival at Scarefest, right? And it's called Slasherverse, and I think it's like it's shorts of all the different slasher people coming together, like a multiverse, I think. And that would be an interesting idea, is like, what if all these people came together, Freddy, Jason, which we can't get Jason for until they resolve those rights, in all of them, in a real movie, not a fan film, but a real movie where all of them come together and have to take over a town. Could you imagine a night where you have to fight Freddy, Jason, Michael Myers, and and Chucky and Pinhead and all of them all at once? You know, like that would be
I don't know. I
amazing.
saw Freddy versus Jason.
Freddy versus Jason, which was also directed by the Bride of Chucky guy, Ronnie Yu,
Right.
which I thought was good. I mean, I liked it.
I thought it had some huge missteps in it. Like, why is Jason afraid of water?
Because he drowned.
He kind of lived in water.
No, he drowned, but he doesn't want to go back there. It's even I bet you don't like Friday the 13th Part 8, but like he has the at the end of the movie, the the water comes and rushes and hits him, and he drowns again and
Well, he
becomes a
turns
little
into a
boy.
little child, which
Chill,
is
little child, which
that director stole directly from his episode of Friday the 13th, the series. But it was just a rip off on that, and it
hey,
still was
if you rip off anybody, at least rip off yourself.
I mean, it's I would rather have the occasional blunder like Friday the 13th Part 8 than something like this, where they're spending I've said this even with the Friday the 13th remake, is why are you spending billions? I mean, it's like you're well, not billions, but millions and millions of dollars to make these movies when one Friday the 13th film these days would basically be the budget for all of them before it. So it doesn't make sense to me, because you're spending all this money, on Halloween Ends, when you don't need that amount of money to make this film.
I mean, most of it went to like Jamie Lee's paycheck, and other
I
shit,
guess so.
I mean, and David Gordon Green and Danny McBride are not cheap, I'm sure. So I mean,
But see,
Blumhouse.
now they're going to fail upward, just like so many of these people. Elizabeth Banks with Charlie's Angels is failing upward because now she's actually working with Disney. All these people that have failed at making these movies and TV shows, She-Hulk, that suck, and they fail upward. And I don't understand that. It used to be that if your movie bombed, Hollywood wouldn't touch you. Now it's like, oh shit, your movie bombed? All right, we got a 3-picture deal for you.
Well, okay. So to go back to Blumhouse, their original deal was to find people who had made a successful film. Like, let's look at James Wan, for instance. James Wan made a very successful film with Saw, Then he kind of Dead Silence didn't do as well. Death Sentence didn't do nearly as well. They kind of bombed, or whatever. And then so Blumhouse said, let's bring the Saw guys back together, give them a small budget, and make something really good. And they did with Insidious. Insidious was a big hit. It still is a big hit. Like, there's multiple sequels for it. I haven't seen the last couple, but I saw the first 3 movies, I think, of it. So I think there's one more, maybe 1 or 2 more I missed. I never watched Paranormal Activity because I do not like. I watched the first one, I just hated it. Because I can't. No, found footage is so boring, especially when it's like security cameras and people are just hanging out talking to each other. Like, I'm like, come on, because something interesting somewhat happened. Maybe the lights flickered. Oh my god, somebody just turned on the lights and off and off and on. Like, I hate
haven't seen
that.
the right ones then.
I have not, I guess. I've been seeing Paranormal.
But James Wan proved himself. James Wan also had the Saw series that he was an executive producer on.
Mm-hmm.
So it's with something like this, all they're looking at right now is money. How much money did Halloween Ends make? Oh, it made double its budget back. So, and it probably still hasn't made all of its money back, because if you take in advertising and all of that, it probably has to make like 3 times its money back, which it will probably do, especially when Halloween hits. So that's what they're looking at. They're not looking at if the movie's any good, and if you're going to sit down and really watch the film, maybe that producer wouldn't like it and go, yeah, I don't know, I don't think we want to do this.
Yeah.
But instead they're going, oh wait, how much money did it make? Oh, here you go. Here, make Exorcist now. Go do that.
No, they're already doing that before this one came out. So this movie could have bombed. That movie is already like in post-production, So this movie could. That's the thing they used to say to you, is you got to book your next gig before your last gig comes out, because if that last gig is a bomb, nobody's going to touch you. But if you're already working on another project, they can't just fire you because your last movie. And I guess they could, but they're probably not going to.
They've removed directors before, so
I don't think they're going to. Most of the time, like, unless it's a really terrible, And I'm surprised. You're right. Like Elizabeth Banks, she didn't do well with Charlie's Angels. Now she's constantly working. But I seen there's a movie that she's just releasing soon that actually looks pretty decent. What was it? What was that movie? Oh, she directed an episode of The Boys. Or no, she acted in The Boys. And
I heard she's doing Invisible Girl or Invisible Woman, I guess is what it would be called these days.
Invisible Woman is what it's called. What is that? It's a horror. Oh, so it's Blumhouse? Is
Yeah,
that
I
a
guess
Blumhouse movie?
it might be. I mean, I guess it's supposed to be a sequel or some sort of companion to The Invisible Man.
The one that just came out with okay. Interesting, because it's a horror. And so that's interesting. I wonder if it is Blumhouse. Um, you know, look, I mean, I love Jason Blum. You know, like I love what he's been doing for the horror community in the beginning. You know, like giving people chances, and I love stuff like I love Happy Death Day. You know, I
Oh, I
love
wish they'd make a third. I really enjoyed both. I like the first one better, but I like both.
I love Get Out. I love, but he's made a lot of movies. He did the Firestarter remake, which I had no interest in.
Oh
You
my
know,
God, is that bad? It is
yeah,
so
I've
bad.
heard so many bad things, but you know, but the dude was making some really good movies for a while, and then he started making crap like Fantasy Island or
That
Truth
was
or
crap.
Dare, which I
Garbage.
saw it in the theater. I was the only adult in the theater, by the way, and probably the only male, in the theater. I think there was a bunch of like teenage girls that were watching it together, and I was like, okay, this is awkward, you know. But especially when I'm by myself, that just looks creepy. Um, you know, like, oh, there's a bunch of kids and a grown ass man watching movies together, and they loved it. The teenagers loved it. They were eating it up. They were screaming, you know. Um, Actually, my favorite movie going experience somewhat recently was the Child's Play remake that they did or whatever with
Oh
Mark Hamill doing the
God.
thing. Now, it wasn't because it was the Child's Play movie, but the audience we had, so it was my brother and I went to go see it, right? We're just sitting in the theater by ourselves. And we're like, okay, like I guess nobody wants to come. Right before it started, a whole bus full of kids came in. Kids, like 15, 14, something years old. They were young kids, came in. Then with I guess their chaperone that was bringing them with them, and they were like hooting and hollering every single time something happened. Like if somebody jumped out, like and everything. I was like, this movie is what that was made for. It was made for those kids, you
No, it
know?
was made for money.
Well, right, but those kids are what pays the bills, pays the
It's
money,
horrible.
you know.
I hated Child's Play. There's a film that will never end up in my collection. Is the Child's Play remake? Never. So
I was surprised to see Mark Hamill did the voice, but then he did such a normal, boring voice that I
I
was
thought
kind of
that was the best thing in it. Well, yeah, pretty much. Yeah. So I can. Well, I'm going to get us back a little on track here. So Halloween 2018. The budget was 10 million. Halloween Kills is 20 million, and Halloween Ends says 20 million. This is
right.
according to Wikipedia, so the numbers could be off. So the box office, the total box office. I hate reading these numbers. Is that like 255 million 485. God, I'm never. Oh God, I always get stuck on this stuff.
Okay.
I think it's supposed to be like 2,055,485. Where's the 175 coming? I hate when I do this. I look these numbers up and then I can't figure out the exact same thing. But okay, so here's what I'll say. So Halloween 2018
It says
was
255.6 million.
okay, we'll call it that. Then below that for Halloween Kills was the 1,031,000. Am I reading that right?
Wait, hold on. Let me see.
I'm looking under franchise.
131.6 million.
Okay. And then the one below that is 58 million so far.
So far.
Yeah. So each one has actually made less money. I mean, who knows? Maybe by the end, Halloween Ends will make more money. But
so on the Wikipedia for Halloween Ends, it says budgets between 20 to 30 million.
yeah.
So I'm guessing it's probably 25 million. They probably give an extra 5 million to make it, which it felt like it should have been lower because there was not enough kills, in my opinion, and there wasn't enough interesting shit going on, that like why wouldn't it, like why did the budget go up, you know what I mean, or stay the same? Like it should have been lower. You're not paying for Anthony Michael Hall's salary.
I mean, look at the other movies that are in here. You have starting, I'm not going to do Halloween, but Halloween, the original Halloween 2, 2.5, Season of the Witch, 2.5, Halloween 4, 5 million, Halloween 5, 5 million, Curse of Michael Myers.
Was it budget or box office?
I'm looking at budget.
Yeah.
Then H2O 17, Resurrection 13, and then both Rob Zombies were 15 million each, and then we're getting into 10 and 20. There was nothing wrong. There'd be absolutely nothing wrong if Blumhouse did 5 million for each Halloween.
I mean, what was so 10 million was what they did for, like, why did they even do 10 million? I don't know. I'm telling you, man.
Probably because they didn't know if it was going to be a hit or not.
Yeah. So they had to make it whatever, right?
Yeah. And then salaries went up, and like we talked about. And so then we got 20 million for the other two.
Yep. I mean, people are smart after that because then they can request more money. Because if a movie makes more than its box office and they need a sequel, then agents can barter and but the thing is with Halloween Kills, fucking Jamie Lee Curtis is in a room. It probably only took them maybe 3 or 4 days with her, if even that needed,
Well, like, that's probably the deal. Is she's like, okay, well, I'll come back and I'll rough and tough it for the first one. And then, so what do you want to do with me in the second one? Because I'm not going to do that again. Oh, well, we'll just have you in a bed for 90% of the movie. I'm on board, but I want $10 million to do it.
Yeah.
And
they're like, oh, well, I guess our budget's got to go up to 20 million now.
Yeah. And then for the Halloween Ends, it's just, okay, well, I'll come back for the third one, but I'm not gonna sit in the bed, but yeah, I'm not gonna rough and tough it. What are you gonna do? Oh, we'll just have you inside a house. Oh, okay. Who's gonna do the other stuff? Oh, we got some guy named Corey who's gonna go around with Michael Myers. Oh, so I don't have to be part of it? No, perfect. I want another $10 million.
Well, no, she was a part of it at the end. Like, so she would be like, oh, I'm not into, I'm part of it till really the end. Okay.
If that really seemed tacked on, I mean, I really want to know what these reshoots are, because that really seemed, and I will agree with some of these people, some people only love the last like 15, 20 minutes. Mm-hmm. And some people only love up to the last 15 and 20 minutes.
All right.
So, and the people who love that first part, a lot of them are saying that really seems tacked on. Like the studio, I mean, Red Letter Media even brings it up. Like the studio said, no, we need to, all of our posters are Michael and Laurie together. So we need to have them fight. Oh, okay, we'll just put it on at the end.
I mean, it's sort of like, because I think the whole world was like expecting some kind of battle royale, some kind of ending like that. And we got it. I mean, we got something, like it happened. You can't say that Michael and Laurie didn't fight, but it was sort of like, I think people are expecting like a WWE battle, like fight.
Well, Freddy versus Jason.
Yeah.
Well, we got that in the first one in 2018.
Yeah.
We got a pretty good one of that. So, how dumb was that suicide thing?
Which one?
The suicide that Laurie was going to do.
Where she was faking her suicide.
Why would she go through all of that? How did she even know that Michael was in the
Were
house?
you getting pissed when you were watching it? Were you like originally going, "Oh God, she kills herself"? Because I was like thinking to myself, if she kills herself and that's how they end her character arc, I'm gonna be so fucking pissed.
I don't know. I was actually kind of hoping they would.
Really?
In a way, yeah, because then at least it would be something different. But then when she didn't do it, and fake Michael opens the door and sees the pumpkin, I don't know why does she have to actually call 911? Why is she doing all of this? I mean, he's not really watching her. He's in the house, yeah, but why does she have to go through the entire process?
Well, they call 911 for the suicide attempt. Probably because she knew she was gonna kill that guy, and then I guess fake it as a suicide. I don't know, because that was weird.
No,
You know?
yeah, she's not calling them to say that yeah. No, I mean it's a fake out for the audience. That's all it is.
Well,
It's a cheat, because there were so many times that Michael would not be there or Corey would not be there. I mean, they
right.
magically kind of appear, where they're needed to be. And how did they get there? Like I said, like on the back of a motorcycle.
And Allison being really upset at first and then later reversing her thoughts like 2 seconds later, kind of pissed me off. Like she was gung-ho about about the love of her life, Corey, who she just met maybe 2 weeks ago or whatever, less, and now all of a sudden she's like, I'm gonna go off and fucking live with them. Yeah, I'm gonna go live with them for the rest of our lives. Fuck you, Grandma, who fought for me and helped me do all these things.
Letting me live with you,
letting me live with you, baking me pies. Being fucking this amazing grandma. But
that was okay. So the thing with the pies, it's around that area where all of a sudden, out of nowhere, Jamie Lee Curtis starts talking about her tits.
Yeah.
She's telling her granddaughter.
She's never acted like that before, or even said that line before.
It reminded me of Rob Zombie's Halloween, where they was like when they were at the breakfast table, and Scout starts doing this with her boobs and stuff, and her mom's like, "Oh my God, Lori, stop that."
Well, that was Dee Wallace too, wasn't that?
Yeah.
As the mom.
It was just so bizarre. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, because that's Red Letter Media brings up Rob Zombie. And then they say, oh, yeah, and there's nothing weird like that in this film. Did you guys forget about Jamie Lee Curtis talking about ripping her shirt open and showing her tits? Because that's not my words. Those are her words. She said, and let them see your tits.
Yep.
It's a very weird thing to put in there.
All of it, because and what maybe they were just trying to shock the audience a little bit or something. I don't know, but like it definitely shocked me because I was like, this feels like out of left field. It's just like, so she does all these nice things, and then her mom, and then she's like, screw you, Mom. You killed my boyfriend. I'm going to leave you forever. You're going to die alone, you asshole. And leaves. Then she comes back. I don't even know why. I think she sees something. If I remember correctly, she's driving down the road, and then she just gets this urge to go back and see her mom, and her mom's fighting Michael, or whatever. And then all of a sudden everything's all forgiven, It's like, oh, Mom, you aren't.
She said some pretty bad things.
I know. Both of them, like, oh, yeah, it's fine. That's how our family works.
Well, and in 2018, she's, with Grandma. Oh, Grandma's just eccentric. Oh, Mom, leave Grandma alone, and all that type of stuff. Oh, I invited her to my birthday. When she's all weird and gung ho, but yet now in Halloween Ends, when she appears to be normal for the most part, you're going to go all psycho on her.
No.
It just doesn't. It just, none of this just really made sense to me. It just, if you want to make your version of Halloween 3, then do it. But just don't do it. Just give us a satisfying ending and then go make a side movie.
And then the other thing I really hated about Allison, honestly, was like she was like telling her mom or grandma that she didn't want to go to that Halloween party or whatever at the bar, because she didn't have a date to go with, and so her grandma hooks her up with the guy. Then when they get to the party, she just leaves the guy alone, like she leaves Corey by himself for most of the part.
I think he like walks away to get a drink. Yeah, he walks away to get
she goes to get the drink first.
Right. No, but the way that he freaks out is she's dancing. He goes to get the drink, and that's when he meets the mom of the kid that was killed.
Right.
And that's what freaks him out. He leaves. She doesn't realize that he's left at first, and then she goes after him, and then he blames her for the whole thing.
Well, for inviting him out there when he's told her no before because he didn't feel comfortable yet, and he even says like that's the reason why is because like everybody in this town fucking hates me. Like, why would I want to go out in public, when people are just gonna be mean to me, And it does seem like every single time Corey leaves or goes somewhere, people in this town just fucking hate him. Oh, that's that weird kid that fucking killed the kid. Let's go and ask him to buy us beer, and if he doesn't give us beer, we're gonna beat him up, or whatever. Which
let me remind you, those are people in band.
Yeah,
band. They're
band
high school
guys.
Students in band that are picking on like a guy who's 20 or older. Well, if he could go to like a bar, I guess he's over 21.
Yeah. Or if he can buy beer, he should be over 21,
Yeah. So he has teenagers picking on him, and he can't defend himself. So that's another problem that I have with this, is that they in all three of these films, there aren't really men. And that bothers me, that there's not a man in this. A lot of the males, unless they're like somebody my age, are not men.
Yeah, there's the guy that loves Lori, but I almost feel like that's a weird like
I think he's like twice her age.
Yeah, and he's like chatting with her and stuff. And I will say that they did do something I liked, which honestly, I know Jamie Lee Curtis is a little older, and stuff, but in Halloween Kills, her hair was so terrible with the white. I was just like, please, I don't want to see this again. And then in Halloween Ends, they dyed her hair to kind of show that she's changed, and you know what I mean? And I thought she looked really good, in Halloween Ends. I just didn't like, I was happy that they did something different for that, because I really did not like the white hair. And I thought she looked awful in Halloween Ends or Halloween Kills. I thought she looked horrible, but she looked a lot better. It didn't matter. She's still a great actress, and her character was still kick ass, I guess, except for Halloween Kills, because she was such a scared person in that one. She didn't, she kept telling everybody, don't go after Michael, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, wait, weren't you just going after him like the last, movie? Like,
well, because he kicked her ass, she was all tough, tough woman, and then he kicked her ass.
But so, like, this is the problem with the Halloween series as opposed to like the Alien series, where Ripley every single time, like Ripley started out like not this tough chick, right? But then she became the tough chick after the first movie, right? And after that, she continued to be this tough ass chick, and everything like that. Jamie, was it Laurie Strode, is no Ripley. She's just this, and maybe that's what they were trying to do. I don't know, but like, I just didn't like it, because I thought she was supposed to be tougher than she was, and I thought it was pathetic, and it was kind of sad about that, because I thought Laurie Strode was a badass in the first one.
Well, that's why I thought that would be more better for a Long Kiss Goodnight type of thing, where we think she's settled down baking pies, and inside that closet, just an armory.
Yeah, but they didn't do that. They didn't do that. And
No,
then
but you know, but you gotta.
why didn't she just kill Corey when she had the chance at the house? She could have just shot him.
Oh, when he wakes up sleeping,
When he's like at the house, I think it was at
whose house?
I think he was at the kid's house that he killed.
Where she's rocking back and forth.
Yeah, she's rocking back and forth. She had
So
a gun on him, you know.
according to Red Letter Media, that was in his mind.
It's never happened?
Never happened because she has the paper airplane,
Right.
and so it's in his mind.
Are you I mean, do you think that? Like, because they never
I think it could be true because he then looks back and she's gone.
Yeah, but I just thought that's like a Halloween thing, you know? Like I
At
figured
first, in my two viewings of it, yeah, I thought she was there, but then after hearing their review, and then they say, "Oh yeah, it's in his imagination because she's doing the paper airplane." I'm like, okay, that kind of makes sense because we didn't see her arrive, we didn't see her leave. She just kind of disappears.
so that's how he gets paranoid, right? Because he starts thinking your mom's coming after me, and so now that makes total sense. Now I'm okay with that because at one point the daughter's like, you know, he actually, so she says to her mom or grandma, you know, he says that you've been telling him blah 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 blah, right? And she's like, he's lying, right? Like he's trying to get you to follow him and stuff. And then, right, if I'm correct, that scene, like there's a scene where they start yelling at each other. First time, the
Right.
daughter and the granddaughter starts yelling at her
Yeah.
and everything about that. So she's like, you're lying, which I thought she was saying that to cover her ass, but really she's saying that because it was true.
Well, yeah, because she tells Corey that her granddaughter is like too good for him, that he'll never be with her.
No.
So I mean, at some point, I guess he told her. The on second viewing, the one scene that I thought differently of is when he says, you know, if I can't have her, nobody will, and then he stabs himself.
Mm-hmm.
Is, and I could be wrong, but the second time I watched it, the way I took it was I went, oh, because what he says doesn't make sense. If nobody can have her, if I can't have her, nobody will, which means he's going to kill her.
Right.
Him killing himself doesn't make sense.
Mm-hmm.
So he's there not just to kill Lori, but he's there to kill her too.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's the confrontation. He's on the ground. He hears the car pull up because of the muffler. And then he stabs himself to make her think that Lori killed him, to put her against, you know, her.
So that's nobody will, because now you're not going to have her, you know.
Yeah, because now, yeah, where before he was going to end up killing both of them. That's my new interpretation of that scene, because when he said that, I'm like, but that doesn't make sense to kill yourself then.
Right.
You would kill the person that you're talking about, because then nobody could have her. But then he looks out and he can hear the car and then stabs himself. And that's like, aha, I'm going to make her think that you killed me and you won't have her either.
I mean, look, I'm not saying I didn't mind that he died. I'm just thinking, like, you know, that he killed himself, because that was actually kind of fucked up, you know. My take on it would have been that maybe he looked like he killed himself, you know, and then Michael starts fighting Lori, you know, they're fighting each other, and then she wins, and then all of a sudden she turns and sees that Corey's gone, and then they could make a whole new Corey movie or whatever, and Corey's out there in the world, and now Halloween can live, you know, can be reborn, because now there's still another person out there that's taken on the mantle of Halloween.
I don't think I would have had a problem with this movie if Corey lived. If that was the whole setup for probably a trilogy that would never happen. But everybody loves that ending for Halloween 4. I mean, everybody seems to love that ending, and we're very disappointed when they didn't do it. So I don't know.
You mean you're talking about like what's her name? Danielle Harris having the
Harris.
clown mask and stuff at the end.
Yeah,
and,
like everybody seemed to love that.
yeah, but then she becomes a mute in part 5. It's like,
yeah, which is stupid.
They
Everybody
just
was
all of
hoping...
a sudden changed her character, which I would love to like really get a candid talk with Danielle. I don't know if she ever would or whatever about like, and maybe she did in the commentaries, but I don't think she did, because I don't think in the commentaries you can't badmouth your own movie that you're on.
Well,
or
on
whatever.
that Halloween one, I have that documentary, that last DVD that I showed, is that part of that is a convention, like a Q&A.
Mhm.
And they try to get everybody back, like anybody that they could. And she talks about part 4, and she
Right.
also talks about part 6. But she, I'm sorry, yeah, she talks about part 4, saying how great would it have been if I took over for Michael Myers. The audience cheers. Then she goes, yeah, I thought that's what part 5 was going to be, but it never happened. She gets a little more into detail about it, and then she gets into detail about paychecks and stuff like that for part 6.
Yeah, the fact that she was plus I think she might have been a little too young to play the role that in part 6, because they did age her up, I believe. But I could be wrong. I think JC Brandy played that role, if I'm correct, and for Halloween 6 played her, and then they killed her off. It's like,
well,
why
I
do you
guess
even bring her back?
But that was the same in that. What happened in 6 is, I mean, yeah, in 6 is what was going to happen with Danielle Harris. So she wanted X amount of money, and then she said, no, I can't let my character die like that, because it's not respectful. Because it's like, it's such a waste, like I'm only at, basically they're pulling like a Friday the 13th part 2 at the beginning of that.
Exactly.
So maybe because I don't know if you noticed it, but there is a shot in Halloween Ends where Corey sits up like Michael. He's on the ground and he just does the lift up, like Michael does, and if they had done that, kind of following what you had just said, if they'd done something where Laurie kills Michael, she's against the wall, there's Corey, and all of a sudden he lifts up, cut the credits.
I would have liked that. What I would have liked is what I would have done myself personally, if I were given all the other stuff and I was just told rewrite this ending, right? I would have had it where Allison is still gone. Allison's gone. She's mad. She's angry at the mom or grandma, and fuck the grandma. The two fight each other. She wins. Laurie wins. Kills Michael. Looks over, and the body's still there. Whatever. Corey's body's still there, right? So she gets everybody to go. She goes to kill the thing, and then she talks to the cops later and says, did you so you picked up or whatever, the coroner, whatever, the people in the court, whatever, that that Corey's gone, right? And they go,
okay.
What are you talking about? There was no body there. And then it cuts to fades out, Halloween Ends. You know what I mean? Because now all of a sudden the whole world is sort of in shambles, and we did get the ending of Michael Myers, but got the beginning of something new.
All they just had to do was just not kill Corey. I mean, not have him stab the knife into his neck or
Michael Myers not go,
Well, yeah, and snap his neck. Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, so it's because he was still alive after.
He was still alive
after the next. Yeah.
Yeah, so they could have kept him doing. He would have had to go to the emergency room or something. He would have had to.
Yeah, Michael could have it could have almost been exactly the same, and just have Michael pick up the mask, leave Corey there, just leaking blood, and then everything else happens. And then when the cop enters the house, there's no body there.
Yeah, it would be. It would also be
straight
very
to the kitchen with Michael.
It would be a great reference to part 1,
So,
where Michael Myers
Yeah.
is, in part one, Michael Myers has disappeared, you know? So now Corey's disappeared, set up
How,
for, sequel, which I
a
understand,
possible
like,
sequel, sure.
you know,
Yeah.
people say, oh, well, this is Halloween Ends. This is supposed to end. And I'm like thinking, it doesn't ever end. It was the stupidest title to say Halloween Ends because that is just a terrible title. Like, I hated it. Halloween Kills? That makes
See,
no sense.
that's why you call it Halloween Dies. And then the next one they make 2 years down the road is Halloween Rises. He dies, then rises. So it's I guess but I guess how fun. I was thinking when Laurie pushes Michael's body into that that grinder, I say, what if she tripped? Like, what if she pushed him and then lost her balance and fell in after him?
I thought there was going to be something where maybe they thought because they were saying they needed to make sure he died, right? And then maybe he pulled her in with him, and that was how it ended
And
because
just
I was
up
like
and grabs
thinking
her leg and
Jamie Lee Curtis has it like written down that she will never do another one of these or whatever. She's got it in writing. She will never ever, do another Halloween movie. What happens when they reboot Halloween again? They're like, let's see if Jamie Lee will come back.
well, yeah.
And then, but we got a $40 million budget this time because fucking Universal is putting up the money for this movie. Let's, we got $40 million. So we'll give you $20 million, Jamie. And I'm like, fuck. All right, I'll come back. I'll be Laurie Strode one more time,
But I have to die in the first 10 minutes of the movie.
No, that's Halloween Resurrection. Unless that's what they call it, kind of Halloween Resurrected again.
Resurrected did.
Yeah, he comes back from the grinder.
Well, hey, if Chucky can, why not? Chucky is still my favorite series. I don't.
Chucky makes more sense because he's a doll.
Have you been watching Chucky, the TV series?
No, I have not yet.
Oh my god, that first
I
season
had it on my
great.
DVR, and then the DVR fucked up, and then it deleted everything. So I lost all the Chucky whole Chucky series I was gonna watch.
Yeah.
This is what happens when I have a million things to watch, and I just can't sit down and watch them all. And then I'm like, oh, I plan to watch them in a couple months, and then I'm not able to.
I'm digging season 2 so far. I think it's.
I've heard good things. I want to check it out.
I mean, Chucky at a Catholic reformed school for like teenagers is pretty funny. So especially with his swearing and all that stuff. But there's now like 1,000 Chuckies.
Good. Hey, stop! Don't spoil anything for me or
it's
anybody
great.
else.
It's.
I'll watch it. I'll definitely. I'm excited. I love the creator. I've met him.
He is one of my favorites, and I was talking to a few people who are gay about Don Mancini, and I was saying, you can't. This is the one series that people cannot attack because its creator is gay, and they agreed. Like he could have two men kissing. And then if like a conservative or something sits there and goes, oh my God, that's offensive. It's like the creator's gay. Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, they did this. The creator's gay. It's like, you can't, it's not like the creator is straight and then having guys kiss. It's like, no, the show is very gay. The series is definitely very gay. So it's and I think that's great.
Would you been okay with a Haddonfield movie or TV series if they decided to do that after this?
I think if they did, well, it doesn't have to be like Castle Rock because that was everything Stephen King thrown in. But
yeah, there's really nothing like, because Michael Myers is just Michael Myers, right? Like there's no,
It would have to be, like kind of like this film, kind of like Ends, where the town is just or like the book for Jaws 2, where the town is just devastated and people have killed themselves and there's murders, robberies, and it's all because of Michael Myers. And it's just people that are in the like the ramifications of what he did. But yeah, maybe he is still out there. I mean, yeah, basically just take ends and just take Michael Myers out of it.
You know who could do a really good job with it? You're gonna agree with me. Mike Flanagan.
We'll see about that.
Mike Flanagan could make a really good horror
That would be
series
interesting.
out of a
That would be interesting.
Haddonfield. You know, like if he had the opportunity. Blumhouse, if you are listening, which I good God, if you've listened to the whole thing of this and you're not angry at us for not digging your movie, at least, you know what, I might do this as a TikTok, you know, or whatever. But Blumhouse, if you can, please, for the love of God, make a Haddonfield series with Mike Flanagan, because I would totally be all about that. You know,
it'd be interesting.
Yeah. I think Mike is a very I almost want to say underrated director these days, because not a lot of people talk about him as much. Like he makes so much stuff, and I really still don't even hear his name as much as they should. You know.
Well, he's doing all that stuff for Netflix. Right
yeah,
now.
But even
that new series out. But I don't think that he directs them all. He just produces or writes them.
Right. And I'm saying, like, he's doing all of this stuff. He's doing all this stuff for Netflix, and it's more about the projects than it is about his name. And I'm like, I mean, I understand, like, you know, he doesn't have the name that like John Carpenter has, you know. Like if John Carpenter came back and made a bunch of TV series, he would get John Carpenter's, you know, whatever.
Well, yeah, he's a name on top of the title. Guy Mike Flanagan isn't. So So it could be interesting, and it'd be interesting to see what he could do. So hey, do you want to read off our list, our ranking?
Oh yeah, I almost forgot about that. Okay. There we go. All right. So do you want to go first? Because I think we said sure. Like a different. All right. So let's alternate. So let's go with the bottom. I'm gonna say my number 13 is Halloween 5. What was yours?
Halloween Ends.
Halloween Ends. That makes sense. All right. 12. I had Resurrection.
Halloween Kills.
For 11, I had Halloween Kills.
11 for me is Rob Zombie's Halloween.
Number 10 for me was Rob Zombie's Halloween.
Number 10 for me is Rob Zombie's Halloween 2.
Number 9 for me is Rob Zombie's Halloween 2.
My number 9 is Halloween 5.
Okay, so Halloween 5 and Halloween Ends is actually switched on ours. Because Halloween Ends is number 8. So I'm guessing we're getting into like sort of similar route coming up. I'm hoping, because otherwise it might be very confused. Okay, wait. So what's your number 8?
8?
Yeah.
Resurrection.
Okay. So yes, exactly. So I've got Halloween Ends, Halloween 2, or Rob Zombie 1 and 2, Kills, Resurrection, and 5, and you've got all of those on yours. So on your top 1, 2, 3, 4, or your bottom 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right. So number 7 is Halloween 6.
H2O for me.
Oh, for real?
Yeah.
Okay. Number 6 is Halloween 2018.
Halloween 6 for me.
Jesus Christ. All right. So for number 5 is Halloween 2.
Halloween 3.
The original. Okay. 4 is Halloween H2O.
4 for me is Halloween 4.
Halloween 4. Okay. Number 3 for me is Halloween 4.
Number 3 for me is Halloween 2018.
Okay. Halloween, or number 2 for me is Halloween 3.
For me, Halloween. For me, 2 is Halloween 2, the original.
And of course, our number one is Halloween,
the
the
original.
original.
Yeah.
No. So,
Yeah.
I mean, it's funny because my favorite Halloween is Halloween 1, right? The original. My favorite Nightmare on Elm Street is Nightmare on Elm Street 4, which not everybody picks that one, but
No, 4 is the best sequel.
yeah. And a lot of people are like, you like that better than the first movie? And I'm like, I like the first movie. It's on my top, like, I think 3 or 5, I haven't done a ranking in a while, but Halloween 4 is my favorite film of the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise. Just really enjoy it. It was the first time where Freddy was really crazy and doing all this stuff. Halloween is the only movie of these kind of, well, not the only one. I like the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre more than any of the sequels and stuff, or remakes.
But I also think that it's it's almost like, what is the best one, but what is the best one to you?
Right.
So like I would say Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the original, is the best one, but I would rather watch part 3.
You'd rather watch Leatherface.
Yeah.
Well, the Leatherface Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3,
Oh,
and that's than the other Leatherface.
Okay, so here, okay, back to Halloween Ends, and speaking of Leatherface, so why does everybody hate Leatherface, the prequel? Leatherface isn't in the movie until the last 10 minutes. So if you love Halloween Ends, shouldn't you technically love Leatherface, the prequel? Because Leatherface isn't in the entire movie until like the last 10 minutes. It's a character development movie. So maybe people should go back and rewatch Leatherface, the prequel.
Yeah, they'll probably be like, oh, wow, I never thought of it that way.
Once again, that's almost the same movie too.
I liked, but I also like Child's Play #1 the best. But which one would I rather watch? Probably Bride of Chucky, more than, Child's Play. You know what I mean? Not Seed of Chucky, but Bride of Chucky. Seed of Chucky is just like, it's almost like the bastard, a child of it.
I love Seed. I don't know if I could do a ranking of Chucky because I think it's one long movie and I love them all. I do not think there is one bad film. I would say that maybe Child's Play, because it is the first film, might be a little less, might be a little more boring than the other ones, just because it is a setup movie. But I would have no problem having a Child's Play marathon. I think that it's perfect. There is not one bad movie in there, and that includes the TV show, except for the remake. The remake is god awful. So,
well, that's because Don had nothing to do with it, and I think he was really disappointed that happened. Because it really came at a bad time when he was trying to get the Chucky show off the ground, and stuff, and so. But he still got this Chucky show off the ground, and people got what they wanted, which is more real Chucky with Brad Dourif and everyone else.
What's her face? The kid's mom in the remake. What's her name from The Office? I'm blanking on her name.
Oh yeah. Oh fuck. I'm blanking on her name too. Fuck. I love her. It's not The Office, was it? It was
sorry, no. Yeah, it's The Office. No,
it was
Parks and Recreation.
Parks and Recreations.
Which technically was a spinoff of The Office.
Was it? I never.
It was meant to be. Yeah, it was Rashida Jones' character was going to go from The Office to that show, and then they said no, let's make it a standalone. But technically, it was meant to be a spinoff. But I love her, and I think that she is absolutely gorgeous in the remake of Chucky. That is the only reason why I would pick it up. Two reasons: Mark
Aubrey
Hamill
Plaza.
and her. Yes, thank you. I think she is absolutely beautiful.
Well, I think she's also
dig
the
her so
funniest person I've ever seen in interviews. She's awkward as fuck, and it makes it hilarious. You know, like she also does not have a switch. You know, like she'll just be herself the whole time. You know, like, and I absolutely adore that. Um, she had a blast working on that movie though, even though the movie was not great. She had a blast doing it. You
That's
know,
fine.
so for her, at least she enjoyed it. You know,
It's an
and so-
incredibly stupid movie made for stupid people. And I'm sorry, if you are a fan of the remake of Chucky, you're stupid.
I don't think I was a fan, but I didn't hate it. Didn't think it was like
Don't
the
be
worst
stupid.
thing.
Don't be stupid.
I'm just saying. I didn't hate it.
First, and I'm not going to go on about it, but I will say, who makes a doll like that? Who would ever make a doll like that? Who would make a doll that has a switch to go evil?
I originally thought of that scene in Simpsons when I watched it with Treehouse of Horror. It's like,
But
oh, it just turned into evil. You know?
Yeah, but it had the crusty doll.
Yeah.
But that's funny. In this, it's the disgruntled worker who takes the one Chucky doll and literally turns it to evil and then puts it back in the box and then it leaves. Why would you turn off why would you build in a switch like that? Why would you need that switch in a toy? Why would you build it to be evil? And then you have to have a switch. It's so stupid. They were so absolutely desperate with that movie to make it relevant and to update it and to make it different.
That was it. That was literally it. That was the only reason why they had that scene. But I literally think they watched the Krusty Doll episode and was just like, "That's funny for Chucky. Let's do it."
The only thing I liked in it was I liked the landlord who lived in the basement. And when they throw Chucky away, or whatever they call him, I don't think he's called Chucky, Tony or whatever the doll's name is, and he finds it and straps it down and starts doing surgery on it, and the doll's in pain. That I liked. I liked that evil scene of him doing that to that doll. That I thought was the only creative thing in the whole movie. So otherwise, I thought it was horrible. And there are just certain films, I'm sorry, I don't care if I offend somebody, that if you enjoy the remake or sequel or whatever it is, and it's written poorly, and I've said this 1,000 times, which is why I do posts from people on YouTube talking about bad writing, then you're stupid. You just like stupid movies because they're smart, stupid, and they're stupid, stupid.
So on the IMDb, he is named Chucky, but I think what I remember hearing is that he calls himself Chucky, or whatever. Like Mark Hamill actually calls himself Chucky, in the movie, but like the good guy doll is named something else or whatever, or I don't even know if it was.
Yeah, I mean that's what I'm thinking. I think it's not a good guy doll. It's like a Buster Brown doll or something.
Yeah, whatever. That's bullshit. That's
a
stupid.
Good feeling doll.
It was terrible. It wasn't, but it wasn't the worst piece of shit I've ever seen or anything. It just wasn't.
I'd rank it up there. I'd put it right up there.
All right.
I would.
It's been, it's been a while since I saw it. I saw it in the theaters and when it first came out.
It's another one I watched twice. I gave it a chance. Maybe I watch a lot of this stuff twice. The remake of Black Christmas I watched twice. Okay, it's a feminist movie and it hates men. So maybe I'm just not getting it because I'm a man. I rewatched it again and went, nope, they hate men. This is a horrible movie. This sucks, which is why the film bombed.
You know what? You watched it twice, so I've got a bridge I can sell you.
Oh, where is it? How much?
I'm
interested in a bridge.
And you're interested in a bridge because I don't have a clue why anybody would say that to you. I'll have to talk to you about that later. But yeah, I think we're heading to that almost 3-hour mark by now.
Oh shit! Okay, yeah, we should wrap it up.
Yeah, and I was surprised because I thought we weren't actually going to talk for this long about it, but we talked about a million other things too that wasn't connected.
Oh shit!
Just talking about Chucky. So I appreciate you coming on, man, and chatting with me about this. And know you're doing another one, so you're gonna have fun talking to two people who actually like the movie. So I would love to hear what their opinions are, and you just slamming it the whole time. It's gonna be fun. Maybe you can change their minds. I don't know. I would hope.
Well, the last time when I had Jack on for Scream, the new Scream movie, I was all like, "Oh, I'm gonna rip you apart," and then all of a sudden, when we came on, he goes, "Yeah, I rewatched it and I didn't like it as much," and I went, "Oh, okay. Well, I guess I don't have as much to say."
Yeah, so maybe that'll happen again. Maybe you'll rewatch it and go, but or maybe you won't. Maybe you'll be like, this is still a piece. This is still the greatest movie ever made. Whatever attitude he wants to come with it. I don't know. All I know is we both didn't like it. We both were kind of disappointed. I mean, it's called Ends, and I don't even feel like there was a really strong conclusion to it because it just felt like a tacked on ending. Oh, it's just called. Oh, I forgot. We're making an ends. Let's end it. Like
Well,
that's it.
that's what happened with Exorcist 3. They made Exorcist 3 and there was no Exorcist.
Well,
so Warner Brothers went back and said you need to film an exorcism.
No shit.
Yeah, so all that exorcism stuff was added in later because the book it does not have an exorcism in it.
Wow.
The book Legion.
Well, all right. We're done about we're about wrapped up here. So you guys can check out John's YouTube channel, Dark Park Films. Well, John Ward at Dark Park Films, I think is how the whole thing is.
Yeah.
If you check that out, you'll see at some point. Do you know when you're doing the video?
Next week or so.
Yeah.
Next week. Yeah, just
so sometime next week or the week after, you can see a 3 filmmakers reviewing one movie and listen to that. And if I get the link to it, I might put it under here so people can.
Oh, okay, thanks.
Yeah.
Well, then I'll put ours under mine. So.
Yep. Perfect. So there you go.
So
just keep promoting that. But yeah, we don't. I would have loved to have Jack on here, but I just feel like because I know he asked to be on and everything, and I appreciate him asking, but I just feel like that should be saved for your one that you're doing, where you guys you're trying to basically tell them they're wrong and stuff, and I don't really want to get into like arguing with people about it necessarily. I don't think we argued a lot on this one. We did have some technical issues, but it seemed to, when I came down here, it seemed to like fix itself.
No problem at all. I did not see one glitch since you got downstairs.
Yeah. So I think I'm going to do it from down here from now on, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. There you go.
We'll have to figure that out later. All right. Well, thank you so much. And everybody else, thank you guys for checking this out. So this was the second to last or third to last first time watch Fridays. I don't know. We're closing up. It's almost done. Thank God. We're going to be moving on to doing I'm going to do some other reviews. This YouTube page will still get used every week, I believe, at least once a week, and stuff. But it's just going to right now until we bring Mainstream Monday back and then First Time Watch Friday and all the other ones back. It's just going to take a little bit of a break doing that. Just but I still want to put out some reviews and stuff or chats about other stuff. So we'll figure it out. But until then, everybody, thank you guys for checking this out and have a good one. Bye.
Bye.